Hey, everybody. I'm at the state courthouse in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania this morning. I'm supposed to be in a meeting with community leaders on the south side of Chicago today, talking about criminal justice reform. But I had to come here because the Democratic Party is suing me in Pennsylvania. And by the way, tomorrow I'm going to Mineola, Long Island, because they're suing me there too. They're suing me all over the country to try to keep me off the ballot. Unfortunately, in some of these states, we're running into judges who are highly politicized and who are very, very sympathetic, let me put it that way, to the DNC. And today, the judge was less than sympathetic to our side. I came down from Boston this morning. I was supposed to get here last night. We had the whole day set aside for my testimony and for the testimony of Nick Brenna, who is our ballot access director, who stayed the night here in Harrisburg. But I was supposed to come last night, but my plane got canceled because of weather. So I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, and I made it here by 11:30. But the judge said that because I was late, that I was not going to get a chance to testify. So my testimony, which was critical to this case, was excluded, and she wouldn't even let Nick Grana testify, even though he was sequestered. So he wasn't supposed to be in the courtroom. He was sequestered a few minutes away at a hotel, and he could have been there in minutes, literally. But the judge said because he wasn't there at that time, that she wasn't going to let him testify. We may lose this case on the state level. We will definitely win it on appeal. And here's why. There's two cases that are exactly on point that are Supreme Court cases. One of them is from 40 years ago. It's called Anderson versus Celebrezzi. And that case, you remember John Anderson, some of you, who was an independent who ran against Ronald Reagan. And he announced his candidacy after the conventions. And so he was very late, and he was late getting on some state court ballots. The deadline had already passed. The deadline passes before the conventions in many states. And so those states said, you can't get on. You missed the statutory deadline. The Supreme Court said you can't do that. That the 12th Amendment says there's only 3 requirements for being president: that you're 35 years of age, you were born here, and that you're currently a citizen. That's it. That the states are not allowed to put additional burdens on that would create a patchwork across the country. That case said there's only one national election. And if states are allowed to exclude people arbitrarily from the ballots, that it deprives people in every state of the ability to vote in a national election and have their vote be meaningful and have their vote count. That's a 40-year-old case, and that case was upheld again by the current Supreme Court in the case called Trump versus Anderson, which is in no relation with that Anderson. That was the Colorado case, if you remember, where Colorado tried to exclude President Trump because of his involvement in January 6th. And again, that case cited the old John Anderson versus Celebrezzi case and said the states can't do that. You cannot create that kind of patchwork. And the pretext for keeping me off the ballot here is a pretext that I put down the wrong state. That I claim to be a New York State resident wrongly. But as I explained in an earlier video, I have 3 potential residents in Massachusetts. I own a house for many years, a family, a home in California, where I moved in 2014 with Cheryl, and then I have a rental property in New York, but I've always considered myself a New Yorker, and my car is licensed in New York. My bar license practice law is in New York, not in California. My law office is in New York. I pay taxes in New York. I've always voted in New York. I don't vote in any other state. And there are many states where the state that you have to put on as your domicile is the same where you vote. For example, in Maine and also New Hampshire, I had to take an oath when I did the ballot access petitions in New Hampshire saying that my domicile in New York was the place I voted. So I didn't have any choice but to put New York for every state, because you can't put inconsistent states across the country. And so I'm going to win this. I would say, I never tell a client this as an attorney, but I'm telling you this, and we have a 100% chance of winning and getting on these ballots. We're going to win the appeals in these cases. That sometimes we have to get by these the lower court judges that, in many cases like Pennsylvania, are elected judges and rely heavily on the Democratic Party. And so we will win this. But it's costing us millions of dollars to defend these cases. And of course, that's what the Democratic Party wants. And it's an irony to me that the DNC is meeting right now in Chicago, where I was supposed to be, and that everybody's talking about joy and about the need to elect Democrats in order to protect voting rights. And, my father, my uncle, the Democratic Party that they were members of was the Democratic Party that was at the forefront of making sure that every American could vote for the candidate that they wanted to. But today, the Democratic Party is doing the opposite. It's disenfranchising millions of Americans. There are 1 million Americans signed ballot petitions, more than any other candidate in history, to get me on the ballot. That's never happened before. And there's tens of millions of Americans that want to vote for me, and they're being disenfranchised. The Democrat, according to the recent Gallup poll, the Democratic Party is 23% of the American electorate. The Republican Party is 25%. But 51% of the Americans consider themselves independent. So the Democratic Party is trying to disenfranchise 51% of the American people. And that is completely inconsistent with the Democratic Party that I grew up with. I don't think my father or my uncle would recognize this Democratic Party for that and for many other reasons, for the complicity with censorship. They were part of the Democratic Party that was against war, and this Democratic Party is part of the war machine. The betrayal, I would say, of the values of the affiliation of the Democratic Party with working Americans, with cops, with firefighters, with union people, and its new affiliation with big tech, with Wall Street, with big data, big pharma, and this corrupt merger of state and corporate power. So I'm a little disillusioned with the Democratic Party today, but that's why I decided to run as an independent. And God bless all of you, and God bless America.
This is in the last 24 hours. No, really? Last 24 hours, all of these headlines. Okay, so there's been a stabbing in a supermarket in Hackney. That's a fresh one. That happened today. A restaurant stabbing in Forest Gate. A man is critically ill in hospital after that. A really bad stabbing in Gorton, near Manchester, where a lovely woman was killed, and a Christian preacher husband and her daughter were both stabbed. Now, there's been a stabbing in Truro. Yeah, little old Truro. An acid attacker has struck in a place called TP Valley in Wales, a place I actually know quite well, believe it or not. In Peterborough, there's been a triple stabbing. Torquay Castle Circus, there was a stabbing there. That was a woman being jailed for that stabbing. Thankfully, they've found a spot for her to go in amongst the protesters. Of course, there was a horrible story of girls being sexually assaulted on the beach in Bournemouth. I remember the good old days when you could go to the beach without being raped. And Dorset police put out a big statement to all the newspapers and on social media saying, if you've been a witness, if you've seen these men approach these girls and sexually assault them, please come forward. And I'm like, okay, so what do they look like? All right, okay, we're not going to find out. That's very helpful. There's been an asylum seeker who stabbed his immigration lawyer, and to wrap it all up, a man murdered a woman and had sex with the corpse. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just as well we're emptying all the prisons because it seems the stabbers are on the loose. What is going on in this country?
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where you're still supposed to believe that a multi-million-pound yacht with a wanted man on board sunk of its own volition. If you look to the markets, you will find the answer, because someone always knows. Take 9/11, those who knew bet against the airlines. Take the Trump assassination, those who knew bet against Trump stocks, and those who knew about the pandemic or were in power invested heavily in pharmaceuticals right before that hit. the markets will tell. In other news, Kamala Harris at the DNC convention, they had Obama and Big Mike on stage in the hope that the rabid feminazis might mistake Kamala for Big Mike and therefore vote for her anyway. And now you have her running mate who lied about having IVF so that he could get the sympathy vote from females, but it turns out he just used a turkey baster all along. And finally, 2 slices of ham will give you diabetes. That's according to the science. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking Chumbawamba's probably it's more to blame on donuts, cakes, and Starbucks. But who am I to say apart from a far right extremist? Okay, that's it. Batshit Bonkers Britain.
Katie Hopkins, yep. Yeah, so those were 3 to start us off. And it's just going to get crazier from there. There we go.
So I just want to let you guys know a little bit of something about me. I am 50 years old and I have never voted in my life. I have never got into politics. I actually hate our government, okay? This is the first year I have ever registered to vote. I cannot believe Donald Trump. I would have voted for Donald Trump if I actually thought that he was real back then. I thought he was just another puppet. But then I started realizing and looking at the things that he did and the stuff that he got done and how quick he did it. And I was shocked. So therefore, I'm telling everybody that this year I'm voting for Trump. He is the most unbelievable president I have ever seen in my lifetime. He is the guy that will save America. He has fought for us. He has done everything that he said he was going to do on his first term, not put it off. So therefore, this year, I'm voting Trump all the way. Who's with me?
I think that there's a lot of people who are with you, young lady. Yeah, a lot of them. J.D. Vance had a good one yesterday. I thought this was absolutely phenomenal.
I'd like to know how you were prepping for a debate with Tim Walz, who has described himself as a bad debater. Who's helping you, and how are you prepping?
Well, I found a good friend from back home who embellishes and lies a lot, and I'm having him stand in for Tim Walz.
I'd like to know how.
I think that was priceless. Yep. Democrats have now added a 3rd layer of wall around the DNC.
And a half away from where the breach happened, Kate, and what you can see is down the street here, they're adding an extra layer of fencing. So now, instead of 2 layers of fence, there is 3 layers. And this is, just an example of the way that law enforcement is trying to fortify this area after the breach. And a couple other things that we're seeing, the fence that's different this morning is these bolts here that are securing these in place. And then in addition, this extra layer here, Kate, it stopped at the top of this panel. And then what we saw this morning is this extra panel going up. And what protesters were able to do, Kate, is they sort of got together and they came from the bottom and a half away from where the breach happened, Kate. And what you can see.
Yeah. Well, they're building their wall bigger and bigger and bigger. Wonder what's up with that, you know? All right, conservative Ant.
Hi, good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Good? Good. I know Pritzker is doing great because he says that he is more of a billionaire than Donald Trump. So we got that under control. While his city is always constantly struggling, burning. People can't even afford rent, apartment, groceries, school for their kids, nothing. But don't worry, Pritzker is a billionaire. Just so everybody knows that. Not only that, he was surrounded by a room full of billionaires telling you that they're going to fix everything if they get into office again. Why didn't they fix that the last 4 years? Can anybody explain that to me? Nobody. Okay. I refuse to watch this, but I'm seeing the clips coming out of this circus. And then the people clap. I'm more of a billionaire than Donald Trump. Everyone claps. I just don't understand it.
One of these days he's going to break that phone. He's gonna end up doing a report. I had to get a new phone. All right, from the jailhouse to the White House, one country's story on how they overcame communism. Here we go.
From the jailhouse to the White House, one country story on how they overcame communism. Sounds like a bestseller to me, yeah? Prepare for Trump to be sentenced to prison on September 18th. Trump will be sentenced to jail before the election. Predicting a fall from grace for Trump with a jail sentence plummeting his poll numbers. Bitch, are you kidding? Are you joking? Every single time this man had to go to court, was convicted, was charged with multiple things, lots of things, erroneous things, his popularity just shot the fuck up. Donations and support poured in from across the country. Are you fucked? You throw this man in jail. Do it. Fucking do it. And then you watch him become the president while sitting in a jail cell. And he can. Unless something has changed since the last time that I looked this up, there is nothing to stop Donald Trump from sitting in a jail cell, campaigning for president, then winning, then pardoning himself and getting out of the jail cell. There's nothing in the Constitution that can stop it. There is no law that can stop it. You can be a convicted felon and still run and win president of the United States. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Nobody changed the law. Nobody challenged it. They might after this, but they haven't yet. If you think for 1 second, if you throw this man in jail, that he is not going to win the 2024 presidential election, you're insane. You are insane. The surge in polls every time he was charged, every time he had to go to court, his mugshot was on t-shirts within 10 minutes of it being released to the public. And I will still vote for him sitting at Rikers Island. I will still vote for President Donald Trump. Do it. Throw him in jail. Throw your any chance that you had for winning this presidency or maintaining control over the people away to the wind. Throw it away. Throw him in jail. Find out what happens.
Yeah. Find out what happens. I've been swatting flies because the weird weather is going on here, right? And every time I think about the Democrats, I just kill a fly. Kill a fly. That's what I've been doing. They don't frustrate me. Yeah. I'm talking about Democrats. They don't frustrate me because I just kill a fly. Yep. Ian Carroll. Just your average billionaire boating accident.
So we might be witnessing the CIA taking over this crazy AI tech company, or these might all just be crazy coincidences. You tell me. Last night, some freak water spout tornado sank this luxury yacht off the coast of Sicily. And on board was Mike Lynch, who's been called the Bill Gates of the UK. We'll get to him in just a second. But also on board was Jonathan Bloomer, the international chair of Morgan Stanley, one of the biggest banks in the world. He was apparently really good friends with Mike Lynch. And Mike Lynch just beat like this multi-year super big fraud trial that he got extradited to the US for. He had a 0.5% chance of acquittal, and he got it. And there's a whole other mysterious death related to the exact same company and trial that we'll get to in just a second. But Mike Lynch founded this company called Autonomy that he sold to HP for a bunch of money, like $11.7 billion worth of money. But then immediately HP had to write off $8.8 billion of that value. And they claimed that Mike was fudging the books and overvaluing the company in a big way. And they accused him of fraud. This was all the way back in 2011. And first he beat it in the UK courts, and then they extradited him to the US, or they charged him in the US, and it went on for years in the US. And then he was throwing a victory party with all of his lawyers and his buddies in the chair of Morgan Stanley. And then that boat they were having their party on like weeks after this trial got hit by this crazy freak water spout. But first, what Autonomy does is super interesting. It operates what's called an intelligent data operating layer, which allows for search and processing of text taken from both structured data and unstructured human information, including email and mobile data, whether it originates from databases or audio, video, text files, or streams. They call it meaning-based computing. So if I'm reading that right, that means that this is an AI surveillance software that can process video and live streams and audio and analyze it and surveil it. Obviously, just for the greater good, just for like running ads, just totally harmless technology. Can't imagine who would be interested in that technology. So on June 6th of this year, they were found not guilty on all charges. And then his co-defendant, Chamberlain, who of this company, he got struck by a car while he was out running and died. I presume he wasn't going to be on this boat trip, so he just happened to get hit by a car. And since he had left the main company, Autonomy, in 2012, he'd been working at their subsidiary spinoff, this cybersecurity firm called Dark Trace. That's ominous. What's that all about? Dark Trace uses an unsupervised machine learning, AI, to build intrinsic patterns of life for a network. So they'd establish what does this network normally act like? And that way they can detect cyber threats and hackers that are changing the normal state of that network. And they claimed that it had the capability to defend against zero-day attacks. If you don't know about hacking and cybersecurity, a zero-day attack is when a hacker finds a weakness in some code of anything, like your phone, your car, your programs, your computer, whatever. And because no one's ever found that weakness before, it's called a zero-day weakness. And they can exploit it to hack you. And that's how basically all cybersecurity hacks and leaks happen these days. And there's no defense against them until they get exposed, and then they can patch them. But this claims to be able to defend against them before they've been used. That would make all cyber weapons obsolete if that worked in its totality. I'm sure it's not perfect, but the CIA has a lot of cyber weapons they're just sitting on. Israel, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, everyone's got whole caches of zero-day exploits that they have stashed up, ready to fight each other with if we go to cyber war. That's how all the hacks you've been hearing about happen, is by people exploiting zero-day attacks in the infrastructure, in the phones, in the cars, whatever it is. Those are 0 days. And I don't know how to be conclusive about this, but there was evidence that they were trying to be taken over by kind of the Wall Street cabal. Short sellers were attacking the company. There were hedge funds trying to take them over. Thoma Bravo, never heard of them. Looked them up, not a lot about them. But in my cursory search, I did find that they were responsible for funding part of FTX and got accused of being a part of that whole shit show. I have long suspected that FTX had ties to intelligence and was not what it seemed, but I don't know. So anyways, once they get rid of the Dark Trace guy with the car, allegedly, I don't know, I'm just making shit up at this point, but he dies in a car crash. And then a random tornado water spout sinks this luxury yacht, but it's not like they were out in rough waters. They were anchored about a half mile from the port of Porticello, and there was other boats all around them. According to the captain of a nearby boat, they steadied their ship using their motors, and then after the storm had passed, they looked back and noticed that the other ship behind them was gone. So they went and rescued some of the people, and they called in the Coast Guard. Crew members are out speculating about how this fucking yacht went down off of the coast after it had just crossed the freaking Atlantic all over some crazy choppy seas. Doesn't really make sense. 15 people were rescued. Most of them were the yacht's crew. Almost all of the yacht's crew were rescued, except for, I think, the chef, maybe. And the other 15, 17 people were all the important people that did not make it. And genuine tragedy, the dude and his daughter are not found. His wife is in hospital right now, and she is dealing with the fact that she'll probably never see her family again. Genuine condolences to the people that lost loved ones here. And to be clear, I don't know if this is a conspiracy or not. It's just weird, super weird. And it fits a playbook of high power tech startups and companies that develop some piece of really important software, and intelligence agencies want that shit, and they'll go to any lengths to get it. If you don't know about the Promise software, look up the Promise software. That connects to Epstein. That connects to the Octopus Murders documentaries on Netflix. This is not the first time this would have happened, if that's what happened. Shout out to my boy Welt for bringing this to my attention. Those Game Stoppers are like bloodhounds in the financial world, and they got their nose on the trail. So obviously the story's still developing. They're still searching the water. The wreckage is deep enough. It's going to take them a few days to figure out what's in the boat at the bottom, what's going on. I don't know. All I know is that if you think that only God can make weather and water spouts and tornadoes happen, you might want to look up HARP, maybe with a Tor browser or something, if you care about your internet data footprint. I don't know. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled. You guys tell me if you got any leads, because this is kind of wild. And I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah. That's Ian Carroll. And I've got an update on that too. So, most embarrassing moments at the DNC so far. These are unbelievable. A thread. Guy caught in 4K yelling no to choosing Kamala Harris. Here we go.
Looking at the two choices before you, who would you hire? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
You tell him, kid. Yeah, yeah. All right, number 11. Kamala does know how to build a wall, just not around our border.
I'm at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, and look what's up. Miles and miles of fencing, miles and miles of walls. Kamala, I guess walls really do keep people out.
Yeah. And then, let's see. Creepy Chuck Schumer sings a message to Donald Trump during the DNC.
What's your message to former President Trump tonight? You can't always get what you want.
I want to see
Senator
you in
Chuck
prison.
Schumer, the senior senator from the great
Pedophile.
state of New York.
Yeah, I want to see that pedophile in prison. That's where I want him. Where is everybody at the DNC? Where is everybody? Where are they? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah. Let's see. And then Raskins.
Someone should have told Donald Trump that the president's job under Article 2 of the Constitution Someone should have told Donald Trump.
Yeah, somebody should have told him. When you invite influencers to the DNC, awkward. Yeah, kid, you look retarded. You look like you're doing some kind of drugs. Didn't your mom tell you not to do drugs? Yeah. Planned Parenthood invited to the DNC to perform vasectomies and abortions.
Tenant media, as you see directly behind me, is the Planned Parenthood mobile health clinic that drove from Missouri to Chicago to be here to provide free vasectomies and abortions to attendants of the DNC that wanted to do so. Right now, we're about a half a mile away from the DNC Convention Center that it's being held at. And, you know, within the first day of the announcement, every single appointment was booked out. They're doing this for 2 days, today the 19th and tomorrow the 20th, but everything is completely booked out. But here you go in the flesh. They will be providing free abortions and vasectomies to attendants of the DNC that is right down the street.
Yeah. Yep. DNC crowd refuses to join in. We love Joe chant. So embarrassing. Yeah, Tar, you should have worked on your volume on that one. Yeah. Democrats to admit exactly what Biden-Harris administration did to Trump.
873. It says, quote, conservatives have long believed in either ending law enforcement activities of independent agencies or ending their independent status. Again, that sounds pretty boring. But what it means is that under Project 2025, Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force. That is not how it works in America.
Well, that's kind of funny because that's exactly what you guys been doing for the last 4 years. Yeah. See you next Tuesday. Yeah. Many speculate that Kamala Harris is drunk again after her introduction speech.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. It is so good to be with everyone this evening in this hall and everyone at home. This is going to be a great week. And I want to kick us off by celebrating our incredible President Joe Biden, who will be speaking later tonight. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you. Thank you, Joe. And looking out at everyone tonight, I see the beauty of our great nation. People from every corner of our country and every walk of life are here, united by our shared vision for the future of our country. And this November, we will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward. With optimism, hope, and faith, so guided by our love of country, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Let us fight for the ideals we hold dear, and let us always remember, when we fight, we win. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Good night, everyone.
Yeah. I got you, Trump. And then Joe Biden claims we finally beat Big Pharma after mandating government-paid shots for millions of Americans. We're not going to play that one, but the only way Kamala Harris could draw a crowd is with a concert. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. Five, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what? Turn out for what?
Yeah, I can only listen to that once. And then finally, if you appreciate this thread, most embarrassing moments, that's pretty much DNC night one mentions Trump 147 times, economy 27 times, border 8 times, crime 6 times, prices 5 times, inflation 3 times, priorities. Yep, says it all. Yep. All right, moving on. Chicago cops given the green light to chase down Antifa activists. Incredible. Here we go.
Move back. Stop. Move back. Move back. Back up. Move back. 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 On 2 minutes, you guys got to back up. We're going to give you guys a warning. You guys got to.
Every 2 minutes, it's all it's going to take for us to wrap up another one of you. And then on to the next one. Yeah, Steve Harvey once praised Trump for creating his Envision program to help low-income families. Here we go.
President Trump was accommodating. I'm going to give the man this. The man was very congenial, as we said that. I said, well, I have a mentoring program, but my mentoring program is restrictive because I can only do about 1,000 boys, and I can do them only one time a year in each city. I want to create vision centers around the country where I can take these schools that you're closing in the inner cities, take HUD funds, put it with them, and then go in and refurbish these schools and buildings and turn them into a place where boys and girls can come and learn life skills, and parents can come and learn financial skills. You can go online and look them up. They opened up 3 of them. All the ideas I had given them, they enabled. He's gonna make America great again. Let's go, Donald Trump.
I'm doing this absolutely free of charge because I want this country to be in her hands as opposed to Donald Trump's hands. That's why I do it.
Yeah, Steve Harvey, you are nothing but a clown. Nothing but a jack-off clown. Got no respect for you now. Yep. Tom Fenton says Judicial Watch behind the cleanup of 4 million dirty voters. Yeah.
Hey everyone, you may not know this, but Judicial Watch, over the last year or two, our litigation has cleaned up 4 million dirty names from the voter rolls. More lawsuits ongoing to clean up potentially millions more in Illinois, California. Another lawsuit in the offing for Oregon. Dirty voting rolls can mean dirty elections, and Judicial Watch is doing the heavy lifting to clean them up.
Yeah. Well, you're not alone there, pal. There's a bunch of other people doing it too. All right. Pastor Lorenzo Sewell gives Democrats a much needed history lesson.
Why should Black people support the Republican ticket and Donald Trump specifically?
That's a good question. You know, what I would say to any Black person is this, specifically about the Republican platform. I would say, look, do your research, right? I would say look back to 170 years ago in this state where a group of patriots stood up and they started that grand old party to stop the expansion of slavery.
And let me point out in this explanation that there were 120 Black men and 1 white guy that formed the Republican Party.
If a Black person said, well, Pastor, Donald Trump is racist, the Republican Party is racist, well, let's play that theme out throughout history. Let's look at who was the party of slavery, who was the party of Jim Crow, right? Who's the party of the slave codes? Well, those are Democrats. Let's have that conversation. And when you look at when the Senate was integrated, those were Black Republicans. When we look at Frederick Douglass, Black Republican. So that's on the political side, why I believe that a Black American should be willing to look at the Republican platform. In terms of my political convictions as a pastor, my conviction in my heart. A Black woman's womb is the most dangerous place for a Black child to be. So if a Black American, specifically a Black woman, my conversation would be, give our Black babies a chance. Look at the Republican Party in terms of President Donald J. Trump. This is what I would say. Don't look at the container, look at the content, right? Don't look at the man, look at the mission, right? Don't look at his past. Look at where your agenda is for your community in the future.
Yeah. All right. DD, if I stopped podcasting what I'm doing every time Donald Trump was on TV, I wouldn't have a podcast anymore. It'd just be the Donald Trump show, and it's nothing. I got nothing against Donald Trump because I'm voting for him and I'll voted for him before and I'm going to vote for him again. But if I turned the channel every time he was talking to anybody, we would be, it would just be the Donald Trump show and we wouldn't be getting any of the other news, right? So, all right. But thank you for letting me know. I will check in and see if it's something specific that everybody needs to know about. All right. I mean, therefore I am South Side of Chicago knows what's up.
I'll vote for Trump. I'll go for Donald Trump. Me too. I'll go for Trump.
Who are you voting for in 2024?
Trump too.
And why is that, ma'am?
He the best president ever.
Has Barack Obama done anything for around here? And
He never did anything since he been in office.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he out. Trump, the best.
Barack Obama? I ain't got no message for him. I don't mess with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Trump supporter. Trump do more for Black people and care more about Black people. And Barack Obama ain't Black. Just to let that be known.
All right. What about Kamala Harris?
I don't f with her either. Yeah. All Trump all day.
Yeah. What's your message to Donald Trump today?
Keep going. Come get us, man. We waiting on you.
I'm a Trump supporter, man. We gonna keep this going. Trump, he a real businessman. I'm a real Republican, man. I want Trump back in office second term.
What would be your message to Barack Obama?
Oh, pump some money in here. Pump some money like Trump,
Your message to Donald Trump?
Come on, man, get us to the Super Bowl, bro. Make America great, man. That's all I can say. Make America great.
Everyone's so friendly around here.
Yeah,
everyone's so friendly around
here.
I need chain game. Like
supposed
this.
to have
Here we
me
go.
in the
Watch.
gym.
Here we
Now,
go.
what's up, my
Who
guy?
we
Need up in there? Who we finna let drop a bag in the hood? Who we want to get the bag
Hey,
back
y'all,
going in the
hey,
hood?
y'all know we gonna need Trump in that joint. Y'all
You
know
ain't
we
gonna
gonna
find
need
a
Trump
soul
in that
around
joint.
here that ain't gonna say Trump.
Y'all got to dig what's going on, man.
Yeah, I'm taking over Benny show, man. It's Odie, man. I'm a YouTuber, man. Y'all get at me, man. But everything Trump over on this side of town. I ain't gonna lie to you. You can go everywhere. You see how dry this motherfucker is? We need Trump, boy. Whatever it's gonna do to make this flow back, man. Get it up. Let's get it going immediately, man. Benny, who you going for, Benny?
My president is making America great again, Donald
Okay,
Trump.
I'm going with
Yeah.
Trump too. We
That's
locked
right.
in. That's what I'm talking about, man. I need the job with you, man.
I love Chicago.
It's my long lost twin, man. Separated at birth, man.
Better tattoos, better style, better hair.
We both good looking though, man. That's all that count, man.
Better
Balls.
teeth, and a better ride. All right.
All right. Moving on. Moving on. Yeah. Eric Holder, why don't you stop and answer the question? Oh, you can't. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, A.G. Holder. A.G. Holder, why didn't you vet Tim Walz? Why didn't you vet Tim Walz? What about his stolen valor? Back up. Why are you hurting me? What about stolen valor? Why didn't you vet him for stolen valor, A.G. Holder?
Excuse me. You know, you're a fool, okay?
Why did he lie? Why did he lie about deploying to Iraq, A.G. Holder? You can stop pushing me now. You can stop pushing me now. Why did he lie about deploying to Iraq? Excuse me, I'm pressed. I am pressed. I am pressed. I'm back. You're coming up on me. He's the one who cursed me out. I want to answer the question. Why did Tim Walz lie about going to Iraq and you didn't vet him? You didn't vet him, Eric Holder. You did not vet Tim Walz. Why did you not vet Tim Walz's stolen valor? Why didn't you vet his IVF? He lied about IVF. He lied about his rank. Eric Holder couldn't do his job. Held in contempt, couldn't do his job, couldn't vet Tim Walz. Stolen valor. Stolen valor. You can keep pushing me all you want. I got you on film, man. Have I been aggressive in any way? And what about yourself? What about yourself? Vocal, I'm pressed. What do you think? You ever heard of the free First Amendment, my friend? You see this? This is called a press pass. I'm doing my job here. Look, Eric, just give me a statement. Go ahead. Give me your best. Who am I with? I'm with RAV.
Stay close.
All right, everybody have a good night.
Again, I'm just trying to interview Attorney General Eric Holder. I haven't been aggressive in any way. This guy's been being what? Interview people?
Can't go past this area.
What's this area?
This.
I am press.
I didn't say press.
Isn't this Media Row?
Yeah, but you can't.
Can't go into Media Row? But I'm press.
Which way are you trying to go?
And this is Media Row, right? Yes or no? Can you just give me an answer? I'm just asking a question. Got a basic question here. So she's saying I can't go on Media Row, but I am press. I don't understand why.
Wait, Media Row, like right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
It's exiting the building.
Okay.
You're good to go.
So the exit. All right, fine.
Buses are that way if you're looking for general.
Yeah, I don't really care for Jack Posobiec too much, but, he did good there. All right. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. Yep, there we go.
In all these speeches, as good as they were, is that she's in the White House right now. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. And for all of the talk about division and the problems in the country and people are hurting, Democrats have mostly controlled this country. Trump had it for 4. The Obamas and Biden had it for the rest of the time. And somehow it's still all Trump's fault. And somehow she hasn't been at the center of it. So to me, that's still the glaring hole in this campaign that hasn't yet been solved at the convention. How do you explain all of the problems that will be solved by the person who is currently in there for the last 3.5 years, who is supposed to already be working on solving it? But
Yeah. Who's already supposed to be working on solving it. Yep. All right. This lady's got some words. Here we go.
I wanted to talk to you today about the Democrat National Convention that's going on in Chicago and some of the things that I observed. Now, the first thing that I observed, and if you go on any news telecast right now, you'll see it yourself. But the police presence, there looks to me like there are hundreds of police officers lining the parameters of the convention. Now, I just wanted to take you back, just maybe even a few months ago. Remember when the Democrats were so anti-police? When we had people burning the small businesses in Atlanta, and when they were tearing down statues in Washington, D.C., and all over the country, when they were burning down small businesses in Minnesota and in Wisconsin and all over, remember, all of them were anti-police. They didn't want police. It was fine for criminal elements to burn small businesses, to burn Black communities. That was fine with them. But now the people that were so opposed to police officers, if I'm not mistaken, Kamala Harris was one of them, Maxine Waters, all of the people that they call the squad, the most progressive part of the Democrat Party, all of them wanted to defund the police. Isn't that funny? That now all of a sudden these same police officers that they wanted to defund, now they want them there to protect them. It was not fine when we needed them, when Americans needed police officers to protect our communities. They did not care about our protection. The next thing that I want you to be aware of that I noticed is that they require ID to get into their convention. ID. Can you believe that? Didn't they just say this past week or a week before that they didn't think IDs were necessary and they thought that anytime someone requires an ID, it was racist because Black people did not have IDs. Now, so if we look at both of those situations, are we to assume that they're requiring IDs now to keep Black people out? Because remember, IDs are racist. So if IDs are racist and they require an ID to get into the Democrat National Convention, then I am to assume that their goal of requiring IDs is to keep Black people out. Now, they didn't mind forbidding IDs for illegal immigrants to go through our airports, for illegal immigrants to vote, and all of those things. But they do want an ID for a person to come into the Democrat National Convention. Isn't that such a conundrum? The third thing that I want you to remind you of is the fences. There are fences everywhere. And this is just me. I'm just looking at different newscasts and things and trying to formulate opinions on it before I get into the deep, their policies, which I haven't really seen that yet either. But before I get into that, I wanted to just look at the basic things that I see. The other thing, as I said, were fences. Now, I'm from Texas, as you probably know. And in Texas, remember, they were suing our attorney general and our state because they didn't think that we needed fences around Texas and Arizona to keep out illegal immigrants and to keep out drug trafficking, child trafficking, human trafficking. They were fine with all of those things. We didn't need fences, but they need all of these things that they always said they didn't. Now they need a police presence. Now they need IDs, and now they need fences. The hypocrisy is overwhelming.
Yep. Now they need fences. But I thought fences don't work. Fences don't work. Oh. All right, get ready for some bad language.
Michelle Obama, Barack Obama was at the DNC on the same shit. Barack just walking across stage, smiling. Oh, I'm fired up. You fired up? Well, shit, we tired. I'm fucking glad to know that you having a good day, because I think I speak for everybody when I say we ain't having no good day. It ain't shit to be fired up about. Talking about some, come on, guys, do the right thing. Do the right thing? Oh, Lord Jesus Christ. You want to know what the fuck the right thing is? Lowering these damn gas prices. Lowering these groceries. Even that overseas bullshit alone. Helping our veterans. Helping our children. Taking care of this country first. And as far as I'm concerned, Trump is the only one talking about it. And of course, it was only a matter of time until she brought up Trump. Oh, Trump, he don't like us because we're highly educated black folks. Trump is the only one that did anything for black folks. Black colleges was begging your husband to fund them. Donald Trump came in like a Mississippi pimp and said, y'all don't need to beg us, and gave them unlimited funds. Some shit that they was begging your husband for. How dare you all get on this stage, give these preposterous speeches. A box of Udo and noodles is $20 fucking. We don't give a shit about what you're talking about. God, man, unbelievable. I'm mad, man, because it doesn't need to be like this. It does not need to be like this. This is silly. They out there talking about do the right thing. That's the farthest thing that they trying to do.
I can't wait till this is all over and see what this guy is really like without being angry all the time. Yeah. Gateway Pundit says breaking Biden and Harris were cooking the books the whole time. 1 million jobs vanish in downward revision. Trump responds to fraudulent job numbers. Oh boy. Why didn't it take me there? It should have taken me there. Let's see here. Let's see. Where is it going to come up? Where is it going to come up? It always takes a minute for these things to load. I don't get it. I don't see why this is fighting to get to it. Here we go.
There has been a report that the job numbers over the last period of time were fraudulent, and I understand that because I know how the job numbers go. And if you want to be a bad person in high office, you can be a bad person, but the numbers are going to be revised. That the job numbers were far less. At nobody's ever seen 600,000 to 1 million people less, jobs less. And let's see if that turns out to be true, but that's what the rumor is. It was reported by a very respected outfit group, and we'll see what happens. But that's a terrible insult to our economy, because we were seeing numbers that were okay, not great, but now we're seeing numbers that, when they're adjusted, are a disaster.
Yep. When they're adjusted, they are a disaster. Yep. It's all going to come back to bite them in the ass. It really is. It's going to hurt them a lot more. Confirmed. Report 25 babies killed outside of the DNC.
It's like, why just not create the right seats? All they had to do was increase the zone where the journalists could work and set the seats back a little further, and then everyone would have been fine.
Yeah. It's a real shame. This lady.
The damn Democrats at the DNC are crazy as hell, shouting they're not going back. Hell no, I don't want to go back to open borders, high food prices, high gas prices, high inflation, high interest rate, can't even buy a damn home. Why? I don't want to go back, Kamala. That's why I'm not voting for you. I'm voting for Donald Trump. And who in the hell had the agility or the stamina to stay up all night and to listen to Joe Biden? Joe Biden and all his damn lies. That's all he did was lie, and scream is more louder than I'm screaming right now. Man, I got to give y'all props that y'all stayed up to watch Joe Biden. I thought that he might throw down and say something against the Democrats for orchestrating a coup against him, but no, he stayed on script, lying about Donald Trump and his lying ass. I'm tired of Joe Biden. I'm tired of Kamala. The damn.
Yeah. Biden stayed on script. All right. Breaking. Reporter Ben Bergquam gets assaulted by far-left activists or extremists outside of the DNC after he tried stopping them from burning an American flag. Yeah.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
It's all right. Don't burn the American flag. We did. And you're fucking. It's our country. It's our country. Don't burn the American flag. Burn it down. Burn it down. You guys are the enemy. Don't burn the flag. I don't care what you say. Don't burn the Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Sorry, but Ben was going after that flag. They ended up burning it anyways. I'm not going to give these jokers the time of day because they don't deserve any props or a bunch of. Never mind. These see you next Tuesdays are really starting to drive me crazy. Yeah. Yep. All right. So, breaking X debunked the mainstream media's false polls and claims that reported an even contest between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Over 1 million people have already voted in Elon Musk's recent poll on X, with Donald Trump leading by 79%. Yeah. It'll all come out. Yeah. All right. This video was censored on TikTok after accumulating over 3 million views in 48 hours. I wonder why.
If Kamala Harris was here right now, what would you tell her? You're cooked. You were in charge of the border for the past 3 years, and where have you been? I don't even think you ever went. All I see you at is rallies with Megan Thee Stallion twerking out to vote, saying that you're going to get the economy in place, but you've had the past 3 years to do it. You literally aren't doing anything. I want to also tell you this. You're not black. You're Indian. And for you to try and sit here and pander, depending on what election year it is and who it is that you're talking to, is outrageous. You're going to Georgia, you're going to Atlanta, and you're changing the way that you speak because you think that people are dumb enough to not see through that bullshit. You've destroyed our economy. You've destroyed our border. You are literally the softest person on crime that I've ever met, supporting defunding the police, raising money for BLM, violent rioters and looters in 2020. You are dangerously liberal. You are far left. You are the sole reason that our country is being destroyed. Joe Biden has no idea what's going on, and you've been the VP. You've been pulling the puppet strings associated with the donors and the bureaucrats and this small group of people that want to destroy our country. So Kamala, I would tell you, give it up. You're cooked. There's no chance you win unless you try and rig the election again, but you can't because there's too much support now. Trump is going to win, and he's really the only chance we have at saving our country. I'm going to be voting for the first time ever. Everyone watching this should vote. Make sure you make your voices heard, and go Trump 2024.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Remember in 2020 when Kamala called 545 migrant children missing parents a stain on our national character? Well, a new DHS report out today says hundreds of thousands of migrant kids are missing under the Biden-Harris admin when Kamala was the border czar. Yep. In a stunning DHS report released in the middle of the DNC, the Harris-Biden admin admitted hundreds of thousands of smuggled children are now missing, likely sold into sex and labor trafficking. That's dramatically higher than the 85K number previously reported. As of May 2024, ICE has not served an NTA or scheduled a court date for more than 291,000 UCs. In each ICE location we visited, ERO could not serve NTAs on all UCs. Unaccompanied children. In the UCs, at one location we visited, 34,823, 84% of 41,630 8 UCs in the local area had not been served NTAs to initiate immigration proceedings. Without an ability to monitor the location and status of UCs, ICE has no assurance that UCs are safe from trafficking, exploitation, and forced labor. This is outrageous and a stain on our national character. Families belong together. That's what Kamala Harris said on 10/21/20. Yeah, 500. Yeah. Yeah. They all got to get it. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Script Keeper. Seconds and your popcorn. This is going to be a long one. Okay. Kamala Harris's record as a prosecutor comes under. Conservatives opposed to Kamala Harris are focusing on her role as a former prosecutor and California Attorney General, especially the case of a man on death row for murdering 4 people and her stance on marijuana. Harris denies any wrongdoing in the case of Kevin Cooper, a black man convicted in California of murdering 4 white people in 1983 and sentenced to death. He has maintained his innocence but lost at least a dozen appeals. He remains on death row in San Quentin State Prison. Now that Harris has entered the presidential race as the presumptive replacement for President Joe Biden, pro-Trump commentators are highlighting her role in the Cooper case. You got to look into this. FBI, guys, FBI said that they planted the police and then planted evidence against this guy. Trump supporter Jacob Faber wrote on X on Monday that the Cooper case should dissuade people from voting for Harris. To all Kamala Harris supporters, just look up Kevin Cooper. Respond with what you please. But I bet you don't look it up first. Because if you do, it must affect your words of anger to people that think little of her, he wrote. Attorney Bill Shipley, who was a federal prosecutor and now represents January 6 suspects in court, wrote on X that the Cooper case should be highlighted. I think a law explainer is in order about Harris's efforts as AG to prevent an appeals court from considering DNA evidence that would have exonerated a man on death row. Her office litigated aggressively against allowing that evidence to be considered in federal litigation to say his execution date. The details are fuzzy, but I'm going to refresh my recollection and bring everyone the story. The campaign to exonerate Cooper received a major boost with a lengthy investigation in the New York Times by journalist Nicholas Kristof in 2018. This is the story of a broken justice system. It appears that an innocent man was framed by sheriff's deputies and is on death row in part because of dishonest cops, sensational media coverage, and flawed political leaders, including Democrats like Brown and Kamala Harris, the state attorney general before becoming the U.S. senator, who refused to allow newly available DNA testing for a black man convicted of hacking to death a beautiful white family and young neighbor, Christopher. This was a failure at every level, and it should prompt reflection not just about one man on death row, but also about profound inequities in our entire system of justice. In 34 years at the New York Times, I've never come across a case in America as outrageous as Kevin Cooper's, he wrote. Cooper's case also received renewed attention in 2018 with Democratic California Senator Dianne Feinstein and then Senator Kamala Harris calling for DNA testing of evidence, a reversal of Harris's position when she was California Attorney General. Cooper had been in prison in Chino, California in 1983 and was serving a sentence for burglary, but escaped 2 days before the murders took place. 3 members of the family, Doug, Peggy, Ryan, and their 10-year-old daughter, Jessica, and an unrelated 11-year-old boy named Christopher Hughes were killed. They were stabbed 143 times with an ice pick, an axe, and a knife, according to the Los Angeles Times, and the bodies were discovered by Hughes' father. The Ryan's 8-year-old son, Joshua, was slashed across the throat but survived. Newsweek has asked Kevin Cooper's attorney for comment. On January 13, 2023, a special counsel appointed by California Governor Gavin Newsom strongly rejected Cooper's claims of innocence. Kamala Harris and marijuana convictions. Separately, the conservative news site Right Angle News accused Harris on X of jailing black men for marijuana while she was a prosecutor in California. The American people do not want a president who incarcerated black men on simple marijuana charges and then gloated about smoking marijuana in her college days, it wrote. Oh, she did. That was on the Breakfast Channel. I think it's Power 105. And like other conservatives, Faber also rounded on Harris's alleged role in jailing people for marijuana offenses, just like how she let people be sentenced to prison knowing full well that the marijuana tests were giving false positives. never disclosing the fact to defense attorneys. That's not the BLM supporter we have seen, he wrote. Newsweek saw an email comment from Harris's campaign on Wednesday. The Reuters news agency reported on July 23rd that Harris was neither fully conservative nor liberal as a prosecutor and state attorney general. It stated that she started her political career banging headboards. I mean, as a California prosecutor who blended criminal justice reforms with a tough stance on some crimes. Yeah, marijuana, locking people up for fucking marijuana. I had a possession charge of marijuana. Bullshit. I'll tell you what. Kamala will never own up to this. Do you know why she's not going to own up to this? Because it doesn't fucking go with their narrative. And the fact that there's things coming out that the police and sheriffs and deputies planted evidence on this man to jail him for fucking life and put him on death row sounds just like what the Democrats do. You have a nice day.
Script keeper.
Yeah. We got to talk about your volume, brother.
Kamala Harris.
We got to talk about your volume. As a matter of fact, let me. And maybe he'll redo it and have better volume on there. President Trump just truth this video. Black America about to rise up. Here we go.
Why do you think they're doing this? Why would they be bringing in these tens of thousands of people, 20 buses a day, 1,000 more per day? Why would they be doing this? And what's your message?
The only reason that I can see that they would be doing this is to replace us. And we say Trump 2024 because Trump is the only one who's going to do something about this and partner with all of America. This is where all of America has got to come together and put a stop to this. We have to send these people back where they come from, or this is going to explode violently. It's going to explode on multiple fronts. And the mayor and this governor doesn't care. And since they don't care, then we must go red. We must link up with all of America, and we care, and we have to do something about it. We're coming for every elected official that didn't step up, and all those that supported this mass, wipe out of our communities. We coming for you. By the time Trump gets ready to run in November, Chicago is gonna look like a sea of red. When that Democratic National Convention get here, you're going to see so many red T-shirts that you're going to think you're in Texas.
Enough is enough. We just can't give it away to foreign nationals. No other country's going to allow us to come in and do the same thing that's happening here.
You have American citizens of African-American descent that have built this country and built the great city of Chicago. They are the broad shoulders that built this city, and they are being disrespected by the Biden regime, the entire uniparty, the globalists, because now they're forcing illegal alien invaders into a city that doesn't have the resources to care for its citizens in healthcare, in education, in police protection, in economics, and anything. And now they have to bear the brunt to it. And they're too gutless. These progressive whites that run this deal are too gutless to have them in there, just like they're not in the Upper East Side of New York or the Upper West Side. They're not out by Northwestern University.
It's something in their minds that makes them believe that they'll do this to us and we do nothing in return. This is not just for Chicago for us. We've reached all across the country to send them a message. We're going to flip America red. We're going to send the strongest message to the Democratic Party that Black America, Black Chicago has ever seen. Black America is about to rise up. Now that we are the mothers and fathers, we're saying Trump 2024 across America. And we asked Trump to come to Chicago, come here and walk these streets with us. And we'll put thousands behind him as he walks the streets. And that's a fact. That's a promise.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yep. Remember when Democrat poll watchers in Philly broke the law and threw out all the Republican poll watchers? Pam Bondi and Corey Lewandowski had to file an emergency motion in federal court. Nothing was done and no one was arrested. Yeah, that happened. Stolen.
Get a little closer.
Update you on what's been happening. They
have refused to let us have a meaningful view of the vote count. They have continued to count the vote. Because they have done nothing to help us, they are not letting every legal vote count. They are letting anything come in. They are not letting us look at anything at all. Nothing. So we have filed in federal court. We have just filed a motion in federal court for immediate injunctive relief to shut down the voting process until we can get a resolution where we can look at these ballots. There's a reason that they are suppressing the election results, the legal election results, because they will not let us look at the ballot. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should care about this. They're trying to suppress our voices now, and they will not do it. So we have filed in federal court for immediate injunctive relief. What kind of ballots would they show that would be illegal? Listen, guys, it's very simple here. A judge in this state issued a ruling that the Board of Elections has summarily dismissed. They believe they are above the law. So because they would not follow the law of the state of Pennsylvania, we have filed for federal relief. That is what we're doing because we will not let the people of Pennsylvania go without having an election observer for every single ballot. It is shameful. It is shameful that the boards of elections here in Pennsylvania thinks they do not have to listen to a judge's order. What has America come to? This judge has ordered us inside to review this process, and the Board of Elections and your sheriff said no. So what do? We go get relief by the federal government to make sure every legal vote is counted. Thank you very much.
Yeah. The True the Vote people are still working. I know that Catherine Emblebrick and I don't remember what the guy's name is, but I know that they've been shelling out millions of dollars in court cases trying to get things done. Yeah. All right. Live on the ground, hundreds of Chicago police who are in riot gear are currently clashing with pro-Palestine protesters along with other activists. Things are extremely tense. Yeah, those light blue helmets, those are Chicago Riot Squad. I've seen those before. All right. Insurrection Barbie says, "How dare you, Barack Obama?" Let's let the guy say it. Here we go.
Michelle and Barack Obama made me sick last night. They sat there and race baited and made it a racial thing. I'm sick of identity politics and the DNC and the Democratic Party trying to keep blacks on the Democratic plantation using these black pawns, Barack and Michelle, who are millionaires while illegals destroy our communities. Venezuelan gangs take over Chicago, where they're from. How dare you, Barack Obama and Michelle, sit there and play the race game while Venezuelan gangs are taking over the city that made you president and made you first lady. How dare you, Barack Obama, sit there and lecture us about the rich when you live in Martha's Vineyard now and you don't have to deal with illegals in your children. Michelle and Barack Obama made me sick.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, when Martha's Vineyard had some illegals dropped off there, they really had a cow about it, right? Yeah. All right. Mike Lynch's yacht sinking was quite the coincidence. I remember his company played a key role in investigating the 9/11 attacks.
Now at a depth of 50 meters.
Billionaire Mike Lynch is believed to be dead, but that's not even the craziest part of this story, as his co-defendant, the only other person who would likely have access to potential blackmail, Stephen Chamberlain, happened to mysteriously die within a 48-hour period from a car hitting him while he was jogging. What are the chances a billionaire, his co-defendant, and the lawyer, as well as multiple other powerful men, all dying within a 48-hour period from tragic freak accidents? Others amongst the missing include a high-profile attorney who played a role in investigating the 9/11 attacks, as well as the chairman of Morgan Stanley International. Pay close attention to what this witness says. 1 second, he saw the boat. After the storm was over, the boat was missing.
Morning, we got this very strong orkan gust.
Yeah.
And we had to start the engine to keep the ship in an anchor position. And we watched the ship behind us, not to touch them.
Yeah.
We managed to keep the ship in position, and after the storm was over, we noticed that the ship behind us was gone.
He describes a strange hurricane-like storm seemingly coming out of nowhere, swallowing up this boat. Then all of a sudden, it's gone, it's missing, there's people still in the water. Why doesn't he circle back and try to help them? How long did they have to wait? So many unanswered questions here, as it gets even stranger though, because of the 22 people on board, 15 of them are believed to have survived. That's a staggering rate of survival for such a strange and unexpected incident. So it just happened to be that the individuals who these powerful people likely would have wanted dead are the ones who died, and everyone else survived, with a couple exceptions of close family members to those individuals. The fraud charges themselves stem from a 2011 transaction where Mike Lynch sold his company to Hewlett Packard for approximately $8 billion. Now, in that, they allege that he inflated a lot of the numbers to artificially get more money for his company. That was a 13-year legal battle. A lot of big things were involved in it, a lot of moving pieces. He was looking at a lot of jail time, could have potentially had his entire net worth stripped from him, a lot of extreme consequences for what he did. And yet, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this was a few months ago, by the way, all the charges just dropped like nothing. You're free to go. 13 years of an extreme legal battle, then nothing a few months ago. Now that is, of course, very suspicious, because it almost looks like they were able to get blackmail on these individuals who were pressing the charges. Multiple people had access to blackmail, looks like, and all of them, all three of them potentially, ended up losing their lives within a 48-hour period. Surely it's just a coincidence. There's no way they have this access to these powerful weapons. And yet here we are looking at this once again, a very strange coincidence, just like what happened with Epstein, where all the cameras happened to be off. This time it's a fraud case. It's people likely having extreme blackmail on these powerful individuals. And then all of a sudden they're missing, they're dead. And here we are, left once again with the pieces trying to put together. Well, I'll promise you this. I'm going to continue to investigate this until we get to the bottom of it. We have to take down these people before it's too late, but I need your support immediately. I'm Matt Wallace, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
But take it from an actual billionaire.
Oh. Actual billionaire. Look at everybody so happy that he's a billionaire.
Trump is rich in only one thing: stupidity. Americans with LGBTQ kids don't want them facing discrimination at school because the state sanctioned it. Americans want to go to their neighborhood grocery store and not have to worry about some random guy open carrying an AR-15.
That's not happening.
Americans don't want their kids to be taught in history class that slavery was a jobs program.
Here we go.
But take it from an actual billionaire.
Yeah. Pritzker needs prison time too. Yeah.
Kamala is running for president, obviously, and she's still vice president.
0 votes in the primary.
And how is
Crazy
it?
how that works.
How do you think that's possible that she was suddenly just became the next best person to become president when she was the most unpopular vice president?
Well, because if they took it to an open convention, there's zero chance she would have won. The only way to keep all the money they had raised this far was to install Kamala. So you saw it happen over a weekend. I mean, prior, MSNBC, CNBC, CNN are all talking about how Kamala has got the worst approval ratings of any VP in history. They're talking about how Biden can get her off the ticket. And then all of a sudden, she's the savior of the country. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. She's been the nominee for 28 days, hasn't done a single press conference, hasn't talked about policy. The two things that she's announced is no tax on tips, which Trump already said, and then J.D. Vance talked about a $5,000 child credit. Now Kamala's proposing a $6,000 one. Crazy.
Do you think she'll take control of the border finally once she becomes president, or do you think it's just going to get worse?
No, it's only going to get worse. It's just lip service. She's been the border czar. She didn't do shit for it. She wants to let as many illegals in to give them pathway to citizenship so they can vote. They're all going to vote Democrat. They're giving them free phones, free health care, free education, free money. Why would they not vote for Democrats?
Yeah, simple, plain. Donald Trump says massive scandal. The Harris-Biden administration has been caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics to hide the true extent of the economic ruin they have inflicted upon America. New data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the administration padded the numbers with an extra 818,000 jobs that do not exist and never did. The real numbers are much worse than that. And if Comrade Kamala gets another 4 years, millions of more jobs will vanish overnight, and the inflation will completely destroy our country. Your life savings will be wiped out. With a Trump victory, we will once again have the greatest economy in history. MAGA 2024. Yep. All right, Byron Donaldson. Here we go.
LARPing is a modern.
So somebody was LARPing last night as like I don't know, MLK. AOC was doing her best like MLK impression. You work with AOC. I've seen photos of you with her. Like you've talked with her. We've never spoken with AOC, but she had a clip last night that maybe you could interpret for us. I want to play it just really quick. It's not a long clip, like 20 seconds. Can you interpret like what she's saying? Because everyone clapped like a lobotomized seal, but we still don't know what's going on with what she's saying. Maybe you could. Can you speak AOC for us? Okay, go.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life.
All right.
When you see her in the hall and you like ask her, hey, have you seen Deadpool or Wolverine? Does she talk like that to you?
I have no
idea. I have
idea.
not seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I have not. Is that how she is?
I would say no. That was an act. All that was an act. That was, listen, man, these people are acting. They seriously are. This is all acting. This is all Hollywood. And it's so crazy to watch. But no, I've never seen anything like that. I can't even interpret that.
You don't know what she's saying?
I have no idea what she's doing. The fingers are going up. Like, is she at Studio 54? Like, what's happening? Is it disco era again in America? I'm lost. I don't know, Benny. So I try not to interpret foolishness. I just look at it for what it is. And so, me and my friends, we might see something like that and we'll be like, man, that girl crazy. I don't even know. Next, moving on. That girl crazy. That's all I got. That girl crazy.
Next, I think she's a communist, so that's a red flag.
Oh, yeah, she might. Yeah, she is too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Already freshened up my coffee. All right. Donald Trump.
Is a bigger problem in our country, would you say?
Opioids.
Bigger than alcohol?
Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the biggest problems.
And compare that to fentanyl?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the problem is people are making fake opioids because they can't afford real ones, or they're just getting them off the street and then they put fentanyl in them.
Yeah. Fentanyl's like laced into everything now. It's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah. They found some in a baby rattle somewhere, I think. I don't even know where that was. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about was like, so there's like the big pharma lobbyists, like there's 1,800 big pharma lobbyists in Washington, D.C.
Right.
There's only 535 total representatives or senators total. So just the fact that there's this whole other almost drug government that's there kind of pushing pushing agendas and influencing things. Like, how do we stop that, man? It just seems like it's obviously killing people. Like, people are dying, it's like, what do we have to do that our own government won't help us?
Well, you have to stop listening to lobbyists. I was not a big person for lobbyists. And if they have even a little access to like a president or a senator or a congressman or woman,
they're snakes.
They get a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they just take the money. They don't do anything. But you have a lot of lobbyists in Washington pushing, and certainly a lot for all of the things that we're talking about, including
winning.
Alcohol.
The lobbyists are winning, it feels
like. Yeah, they're
like.
winning. They're making a lot of money. Absolutely.
Can you stop that? Can a president stop that? Like, how do we stop that?
Well, one way you could stop it is to say, if you're going to go into government, you can never be a lobbyist. In many cases, they have rules and regulations where you can't do it for 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
You mean be a lobbyist after you were an elected official?
I mean, you could
Is that what you're saying?
You could say that if you're an elected official or if you work in government, you can never be a lobbyist. You have people that work in government and they give out contracts to the military, and then they leave and they work for the people that they're giving out contracts to.
That's exactly what happened with the Sackler family, with the drug companies. They hired people that were on the FDA to work for them so they could loophole the laws.
Yeah.
But can we outlaw lobbyists, or we can't do that?
Well, there's a whole constitutional thing there. I mean, can you make somebody never, ever go into the business if you work for government, and especially if you're giving out contracts? In other words, you're a powerful person within some industry, the Navy, the Army, anything. It could be military procurement, etc. There's a whole thing there's a whole question as to you give out a contract and then all of a sudden you're working for the person you gave out the contract to, or the company that you gave out the contract to.
Right. It's like you're playing both sides of the net.
Well, it's obviously a problem, and it's a big problem, and we were doing things about it, but then we had to get down to other business. We had to solve we had a lot of problems with this country.
Yep. I got quite a few clips from that interview that I'm going to show you guys. This was interesting. Watch as Steve tries to help illegal migrant enter the DNC convention. You can imagine how it went.
Hey, Steve Cortez here on the west side of Chicago, Democratic National Convention at United Center. The Democrats, of course, want open borders and want an endless stream of illegal migrants pouring into the United States. This is my new acquaintance, Edwin. Say hello.
My name is Edwin. Nice to meet
All right,
you.
Edwin is from Venezuela. And we're going to take Edwin into the DNC so that he can meet the Democrats who want open borders. He should meet his new friends, hear the speakers, and learn about the Democratic Party. So, Edwin, let's head in, shall we?
Excelente.
Right. This is Edwin from Venezuela, migrant, invited in by the Democratic Party. He'd like to come into the Democratic Convention.
You have to get your credentials. Yep, you have to go to Jackson.
Yep. Wait, you mean he needs credentials and permission to come in to get past the wall?
Yeah.
It's like a border wall in a way, huh?
Yeah. You have to have ID, credentials. You can
Okay, to come to the United States?
No.
Not to come to the United States. Okay, but to come to the Democratic Convention.
Here, babe.
Okay. You believe in security. You believe in securing a boundary. Edwin can't come in.
Without credentials.
That's all I know. I commend you on guarding this border. You're doing it very effectively, folks. Good morning. Hi there. We would like to get some credentials for Edwin. Come on, Edwin. Edwin is from Venezuela. I am, right. So we tried to get Edwin into the convention. He's a migrant from Venezuela. No organization, just American. And he's a migrant from Venezuela. Wanted to get to the convention. We figured that they would love to have a migrant from Venezuela come in. They said we give you credentials. So we're here to get the credentials. Okay. Has anyone filled out an application for him? So you have to. There's a process in the application. He didn't have that at the border. Okay. I have my own personal beliefs on this, but right now I'm just okay. So I'll not security camera off. Just to be clear, we have been ejected from the DNC credentialing office because we're not permitted to be here. We don't have permission. We didn't go through the application process. It seems like the United States would use similar rules about crossing the U.S. border. DNC doesn't believe in that, but they do believe in it for their own convention.
Yeah.
This is Edwin. He's from Venezuela. He's a migrant. Democratic Party wants an endless stream of migrants into America. So I'd like him to go and meet his political friends, listen to the speeches, and come in the Democratic convention. Well, you're laughing. He's allowed to come to the United States without identification or permission. Can he come into the DNC?
I don't think the Secret Service is going to go for it. No.
They're not going to go for it? Well, they went for it at the border.
Well, maybe he can get credentials.
How can we help you, sir? We'd like to get Edwin in. The Democratic Party invited him into America from Venezuela. We'd like to get Edwin in to meet his Democratic friends.
Now, they
Do you need credentials to go in the United States?
We're done. Do
you need credentials to go in the United States? So we do need credentials here to get past this heavily armed barrier. Well, Edwin, Kamala Harris has an open border. You're allowed in America. You're not allowed into her party. Oh, well, Edwin, we tried. 2 gates, credentials. 0 for 3, that's a strikeout in baseball, see? Tres strikes. We're out.
Podría haber una diferencia.
Same in Caracas, same in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Edwin. I'm sorry you didn't get to meet your heroes. Yeah.
For a
But that
final
was kind
hearing
of good
before
to catch them in their own shit, like trying to bring in, trying to bring the illegals into the convention that they brought into the country to vote for them. Kind of shows them that, wow, I'm good enough to come here and cast a vote for you, but I'm not good enough for you to meet me. Think about it. This could backfire. I think that this guy, Steve Cortez there, I think he should get a few more. Get one from each of the countries that have been filtered into the Chicago area. Because we got people from Iran, Iran. Yeah, all right, I'll be okay. Iran. We got people from Afghanistan and Iraq. We got people from Ukraine. We got people from all the different continents of Africa, right? And then everything from South America. Go and get one of each of those people and try and get them in. Let them see that. Oh, hey, listen, we want your vote, but you don't get to you don't get to know us. You just got to do as we say. Sounds like that's what they're doing to America. Oops, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Tourette's. I'm telling you. I think it's catching. Yeah. It's yeah. Oh. It's I had to kill a fly for that one. Okay, here we go. Hunter Biden's alleged expenses. Here we go.
For a final hearing before his federal tax trial begins. Remember now, he's facing multiple felony and misdemeanor charges for failing to pay the government on millions of dollars. David Spunt is live in Washington on This For Us. David, hello.
And that trial begins, Bill and Dana, on September 5th with jury selection. Hunter eventually paid back the more than $1.4 million, but the special counsel says he spent money on everything but his taxes. We have a graphic. According to the indictment, the government says instead of paying taxes, Hunter spent money on women, clothing, health and beauty products, and he was indicted last year. His sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, the widow of the late Beau Biden, expected to testify. She was in a relationship following the death of Beau, and prosecutors believe she has plenty of information to help this case. Hunter recently added celebrity attorney Mark Garagos to his team. He will be there. He wants to dismiss this case, but the special counsel will continue to prosecute. The judge said no dismissal, and here we are today. Hunter will be sentenced in Delaware for his gun possession case in November. His father previously said no pardon. That was before he decided against running for re-election. Again, this California case kicks off September 5th. We'll see what happens in court.
Wow. Yeah. So Joe Biden said no pardon. So Hunter, Daddy's not going to pardon you. Oh, my God. Maybe it's a good time to expose everything that Daddy's been doing. Just saying. All right. Script Keeper says, great video. Here we go.
Why are you voting for Trump?
All right, young lady, I'll be happy to answer that for you as somebody that is a former Democrat. I'm a two-time bone cancer survivor. I voted for Obama Biden in 2008 based on Obamacare. And then when Obamacare was implemented, I promptly lost my insurance. I could not keep my plan. I could not keep my doctor. That put me in a tailspin of losing insurance. And then on top of that, I got penalized for not having insurance that I could no longer afford. Now, that was pre-Donald Trump political career. That had nothing to do with Donald Trump. That had to do with the Democratic Party leaving me behind, even though I voted for them. Now, come along to 2016. Donald Trump campaigns on getting rid of the penalty for no insurance. And he did that. Helped my family out and me specifically. Then he campaigned on tax cuts. He did that. I got a tax cut. My employer got a tax cut. My employer then gave all 200,000 plus employees raises because the tax burden on them was less. Now, ironically enough, that company was Costco, a very liberal company that backed Hillary Clinton in the election. Not only did they give all employees raises, which mine was $3 an hour back in 2018, they raised the minimum wage from $12 an hour to $15 an hour because they specifically said the tax breaks. Donald Trump delivered on that. And there wasn't a single Democrat that voted for you and I to have more of our own money we earn. One of the people that cast a vote no was a senator from California named Kamala Harris. We did not get into any new conflicts. Our president set foot in North Korea. I don't know if you know how big that is. But the one thing I want to ask you is this. You look young, which means you're probably still on your mom and dad's insurance. So you've never had to face that dilemma as a parent or as an adult. Also, you probably don't own a home. And if you don't know the difference between a sub 3% mortgage rate versus a nearly 8% mortgage rate under Biden, then you simply don't understand why anybody could ever vote for Donald Trump. To me, since I know how all that works, my bigger question is why on earth would anybody vote for Kamala Harris? Because she's sitting here saying no tax on tips, but yet in 2023, her and Biden passed a bill, and she was the deciding vote to make this a bill where you had a new way of reporting taxes on tips, and they also were going to hire 87,000 new IRS agents to audit us to make sure the government got more of our money. Now she's saying this, just like she said she's going to protect women's reproductive rights, which got turned over under her and Biden. They could have codified it. They didn't. That's why I'm voting for Donald Trump, because he has a history of doing what he says versus Kamala Harris having a history of saying shit and not do anything about it. That's why I'm voting for Donald Trump, because of the history we have to look back on. A good economy, good job growth. America was doing great before pre-COVID. Now, COVID would have ruined any president. I don't understand why anybody would vote for Kamala Harris. Can you answer that one for me?
Have I been muted this whole time? Have I been muted this whole time? I was just singing to you guys and you missed it. That was the best I ever sounded. I can't believe you did not hear me. Yep. I was muted the whole time. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Yep, you missed it. That was the best I ever sang. The best I ever sang in my whole life. Yep, that was the best. Nope, I can't do it again. You can never repeat something like that. Not unless you're a Democrat, and I'm not a Democrat. Oh, you missed it. You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. I do owe a happy birthday. I do owe a happy birthday. And I'm not sure if she's in chat today. Annette, are you here? Are you here, Annette? Are you here, Annette? Annette Graff, I believe it was. The day before yesterday was her birthday. Yep, I was going back through chat on the podcast from 2 days ago, and I saw that she typed in, "It's my birthday," and I did not see it until I saw it last night. Yeah. Okay, she's not here because she'd be jumping into chat saying, I'm here. And yeah, so you don't get to hear me sing happy birthday either. There we go. Oh, you sang it on Diamond Lils. Okay, well, I guess it's yeah, we're good then. We're good then. Yep. Okay, holy crap. Are you for real? 17 agencies and the National Guard? Is anybody paying attention? They are telling us. What's they talking about? What you talking about, Wiz?
To expect from a group like that. But what I can tell you is what I expect from our side. We're going to stay focused on First Amendment protection, but we're also going to make sure that we protect everyone in this city.
So Chicago police again turning out here. Just a reminder, Chicago PD has 17 other law enforcement agencies from across Illinois and from Wisconsin here in town, helping them with the DNC, along with, the governor says, the National Guard. But those other agencies, the city says, are guarding facilities, they're guarding buildings and sites. Yeah. CPD is the only agency out here. City officers are out here dealing with the protests and getting ready for another night out.
To expect from a group.
17 agencies. Let's take a personal moment with the big T. Here we go.
Yeah. I noticed at the events, you don't drink, and you don't drink or smoke, right?
I don't drink or smoke.
You never have?
No, I never have. I had a great brother who taught me a lesson. Don't drink. And he said, don't smoke. He smoked and he drank, and he was a great guy. He was a very handsome guy.
Is he older? He was older?
Quite a bit older, yeah. And he had a problem with alcohol and smoke a lot. But, I tell people, no drugs, no drinking, no cigarettes.
Yeah.
I tell that to my kids all the time. I'd say, no drugs, no drinking, no smoke. And
it was tough.
He'd always tell me, he'd say never. So he was, really old enough that you would look up to somebody, and I'd look up to him anyway.
Did you admire him?
Yeah, I admired so much about him. He had so much going. He had the look. He
What was his name?
Unbelievable personality, like an incredible personality.
What was his name, Donald?
His name was Fred Trump. And he had a problem with alcohol. He got addicted to it because they say alcohol is tougher than drugs to get off of. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I'm in recovery, actually. I've been in recovery, so like most of the last 10 years.
From alcohol?
From drugs and alcohol.
So which is worse?
For me, drugs is the problem, but if I have a drink, then it's tougher for me to prevent myself from getting.
It sets off a chain.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to think about this. What he just said. He says, I'm off the drugs, but if I have a drink, it leads me back into that path again. And what did Donald Trump just say? It's like a chain reaction, right? But hey, don't forget that marijuana is the gateway drug. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget that, people. Yeah. Marijuana is the gateway drug. Yeah. Marijuana leads you to drink. And then drinking leads you to do drugs. But it's marijuana's fault, even if you were only in the room and you never inhaled. Yeah. Don't you ever forget it. It's marijuana's fault.
Yeah. But which is harder to quit? I've heard alcohol is harder to quit than drugs, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can only imagine because it's probably more readily available.
More readily. Well, and it's social and you're sitting and everyone's drinking and all.
Yeah,
'Cause
rarely do
nowadays
you go to a
everyone's taking
dinner and
drugs.
everybody's eating like, Xanaxes or something, for
Yeah, right.
appetizers. Usually people are having like a mint julep or something a little fancier, Negroni I just learned about.
Right.
But yeah.
So you have a problem with that then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's been in my family. My family, it's like, yeah.
Can you stay away from it?
Yeah, I've done a good job. I mean,
so how long have you been off?
I go to recovery meetings. I've been off most recently a little over 2 years.
Do you ever go back on?
Yeah, I've had stints where I go back on
and you don't control it.
It's tough. It goes downhill
No
pretty
kidding.
quick.
So
you think it's going to be easy.
You think you're controlling it.
And then you're damn.
Boy,
Yeah, you're
that's
doing go-kart and racing with hookers and stuff. It gets bad.
Just not to do it, right?
Right. So then in the end, you're like, I have to not do it. Did you see, like, with your brother, could you see it or anything? Like,
oh, yeah.
Man.
I was amazed because he had so much going, he had everything going. I think it happened in college at a fraternity maybe, or I don't know, somewhere along the line it happened. And all of a sudden, this is not unique. This is a very common story, unfortunately. But and then the family would see it and start to notice it. And it didn't get better. It didn't get better. I was amazed. He lived for so long in bad conditions, in terms of, I was amazed that his body could hold out. It held out and it had bad moments. But his body was unbelievably strong that it could withstand this.
Yeah, it's a body. Your body's just so resilient.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time that you saw him or spent with him?
I do. And
I'm sorry to ask you about it. Is it all right?
No, it's, well, the reason it's good talking about it is it might help other people. If it helps one other person, it's worth the conversation.
We talk about that stuff a lot on our podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of our audience struggles or has struggled with alcoholism, addiction, intimacy disorders, all types of stuff. So it's like it's pretty kind of normal conversation. But
the interesting thing is, and I tell people, so I never had a cigarette, and I've never had a glass of alcohol. And my brother was incredible. He would tell me, because he knew he had a problem, and he'd say, don't ever drink, don't ever smoke. He'd always add smoking because he did smoke a lot, which is, not very healthy. But he'd say, don't ever drink, don't ever drink. He'd tell me every time. I said, don't ever drink, because he knew he had this addiction. And I never had a glass of alcohol. Never, ever did I have a glass of alcohol because of him. And I would say that if I did drink, I could, conceivably be the type of personality that would have, like you, that would have a problem. But I never had. And the only thing I say to people is, if too late for the people that you're talking about, but if you don't drink, you don't miss it. I mean, I don't even think about alcohol or
right. It's not a part of your world.
I don't think about cigarettes. I don't think about any of that. If you don't take drugs or if you don't have alcohol, it's real easy not to drink it. It's when I had a friend who went to the Wharton School of Finance with me. He was a very smart guy.
Where is it, Wharton School?
That's in Philadelphia. That's at Penn.
Oh, yeah. Rocky.
Right. And it's a great school, great business school. And it's part of the University of Pennsylvania, the business school.
Oh, it's nice down there.
Yeah.
My friend's brother went there or something.
Well,
we ate near there once.
Then he was smart because it's a great school. But this person that I met, he hated the taste of scotch. Hated it. Couldn't stand it. But he insisted on having it because he felt it was important to be able to drink. I said, no, just don't drink. He said, to be successful in business, you have to sort of interact and you have to drink. And I said, don't do it. Anyway, he became an unbelievable alcoholic, uncontrollable alcoholic.
Oh, I thought you were like one of the best.
Yeah. And he died. He was but he hated the taste of scotch.
And he still
and then
did
he couldn't live without it.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, I think I notice a lot of like in the recovery rooms and stuff, it's a lot of people that they're missing something inside of them. And so they take on like, so they want to try and fill it up with something else.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time you spent with your brother?
I do. And he'd have periods where he'd get sick, very sick. And we thought we'd lose him or we lost him. Then he'd get better. And that happened 5 or 6 times. I mean, where you thought you lost him and then he got better. And it was amazing. I mean, he was, certainly very strong in that sense. And I just tell people it's so tragic. Don't drink. Just don't drink.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have a problem. Like even you.
What do you mean they turned me off? Did they really turn me off? Let me see here. Stream unavailable. So now it's a policy violation? Really? Bear with me for a minute, guys. Bear with me. I gotta go check this out. Let's see. See, it says that I'm live. And I'm not seeing anything here. Is there something on my dashboard? Nothing on my active community guidelines. No. Yeah, it's not showing that I'm not there. So here's my dashboard. Here's my dashboard, and yeah. Those of you on X, thanks for sticking around. This should be interesting. Is Facebook still with me? Really? So it's Facebook says Facebook says yeah. Facebook is still here? Okay. Facebook's here. Okay. And yeah. So they didn't like that interview at all. They didn't like that. And the thing is it's not coming up with anything on YouTube. So let's go to YouTube here real quick. And let's click on my channel and manage videos. Live. Says, yeah, it's live right here. Visibility, public. Restrictions, none. Right? Let's go to the dashboard. And yeah, I have this video is blocked in some territories. Your video, I'm ready for this to be over. Or you? That was on August 20th. Yeah, kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Hear you on Uber? You hear me on Uber? I didn't know I was on Uber. That happened today to Robert also. KN says, back on now, strange. Yeah. Well, maybe it's this kid, maybe it's his content there and he was mad because we were sharing it or something. But I'm not seeing anything here, as to why. But yeah, we can, it was a good interview. He told a story about his brother. Yeah. Facebook. Let's see. Facebook. Most people on Facebook say that I'm there. So let's see what Facebook says is the reasoning. Let's see. I got a bunch of friend requests. And I'm not seeing anything. It would be like right there at the top of the list if I'd done something wrong on YouTube. But y'all are saying that. Let's go to here. And yeah, looks like I'm there. So, but I'm not seeing a. Yeah, let's see. This drives me crazy when I get these because I don't know you. But because you stand with Trump, I'm going to add you. Most people, if I don't recognize you from chat or you just got beauty photos up, I'm going to end up deleting your request because I'm not seeing anything. I have no idea where that flag's from. Slovenia. Okay. There's nothing else there. So if there's nothing else there, then generally, hi, Julie. Look what Julie did. Julie won $310 million. Good for you. No. See, I don't know if this is a real person or not. So, you don't know. And I'm not sure who. 8 mutual friends. How come I can't pull up who the 8? She's probably a Democrat. That's why she won. Is that what you're trying to say? That's weird. Why isn't that loading? Oh, yeah. Okay. Somebody who actually shares the whoops. Okay. So let's go back. Let's go back to here and. Uh-oh, I lost somebody somehow. That's it. Okay. Confirm. Okay, yeah. So I'm not seeing a violation here. So I mean, I'd get a notification. Yeah. So they just got something against Trump. This is my buddy Bob Spicer here.
Hey, everybody out there in Black Dogs Matter USA.
He's got a black German Shepherd. Just so you know, Black Dogs Matter.
Doing Bob Spiker here. I'm the admin for this awesome group. I haven't been on here for a minute. I've been super busy campaigning this year, actually for the last 2 years. Nonetheless, just wanted to share a little bit of a memory with you guys. I'm with the star of the show, Samson. Come here. Come here. Come here.
There he is.
Come here. Boy. Samson Hill. Come here. Come here, bud.
That dog got his head out the window. He ain't paying no attention to you.
The star of the show over here, Samson. He's getting ready to go get groomed today. He doesn't know it yet. He doesn't really know the word groomed. He kind of gets anxiety, but he doesn't get anxiety. I've been there a few times. But it's been over a year since he's last been like groomed. So anyway, I'll share a before and after picture with you guys. But this is the video prior.
All right, Bob, we gotta leave you be. Let's get back to here we go.
The Democrats, the party of the KKK and Jim Crow, have been promising the black community things for decades. And where has it gotten us? Seems to me just more division and hate. Hi, I'm Willie, and I'm a candidate for U.S. Congress representing the Central Florida area. I am a member of our community who is tired of politicians saying they represent us when we don't even know them. In 2015, I founded House of Timothy here in Central Florida, a rehabilitation facility for young men in our community. Why? Because like you, I was not waiting around for other people to send help. We work together down here to help ourselves, and that is what the DC mob does not understand. I believe in putting an end to Biden's disastrous economy. We have had enough of his foolish policies causing record inflation that even took the dollar store away from us. Central Florida deserves a change, and that change does not exist in the realm of racist critical theories and radical gender ideology being taught to our kids without our consent. What our country needs is to return to God. My name is Willie J. Montague, and I hope to earn your vote so we can finally be represented in Congress by who we really are.
All right, and that's in South Central Florida. Yep. All right. We need more Sergeant Stumps.
I'm sorry.
Hey, how are you?
Good, I'm sorry.
What's going on? You can talk to me.
I'm sorry, I'm homeless. I need somewhere to sleep.
Okay, all right.
I'll park there again.
No, it's okay. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. Okay, you're not in trouble for being homeless, okay? There's a gift card to Starbucks for you. Okay?
I'm sorry for all this. I didn't expect this to happen.
You want to go to a shelter?
Yes, I'm kind of scared.
Well, this is more scary than that. You have gas money?
I don't think I have enough.
All right, tell you what. There's a prize right over here. I want you to follow me over to that. I'm going to put some gas in your car. Okay? And I'm going to write down an address for a shelter.
That's the kind of officers that we need. You know? That's the kind of officers we need. Here we go.
Fox News digital political correspondent Brooke Singman live.
Just to say, Donald Trump posted this. They go after me for nothing. Biden engaged in impeachable conduct. Here we go.
Fox News digital political correspondent Brooke Singman live in Chicago this morning with more. Brooke, good morning to you.
Good morning, Maria. I obtained a copy of this 292-page report from Republicans on the House Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committees. So you know they've been leading the impeachment inquiry against President Biden for months. And they said their investigation found that President Biden engaged in impeachable conduct and said he abused his office and, quote, defrauded the United States to enrich his family. Republicans revealed that since 2014, the Biden family and its associates received more than $27 million from foreign individuals individuals and entities. They also found that while Biden was serving as vice president, the Biden family got more than $8 million in loans from Democratic benefactors. And they said that those loans have not been repaid. So this report says, in part, quote, as vice president, President Biden actively participated in this conspiracy by attending dinners with his family's foreign business partners and speaking to them by phone, often when being placed on speakerphone by Hunter Biden. Republicans are calling out a 2014 dinner that Hunter Biden and his father attended with a Russian oligarch. And they say that after that dinner, that oligarch wired $3.5 million to Hunter Biden's firm. Now, these accusations against the Bidens are wide-ranging throughout this report, which says, quote, several witnesses testified that Hunter Biden invoked his father in business dealings with Romanian, Chinese, Kazakhstani, and Ukrainian companies, resulting in millions of dollars flowing to the Biden family. They are also calling out Biden for his handling of classified documents. And they said, quote, during his tenure as vice president, Joe Biden removed highly sensitive classified documents from the White House, despite having no authority to do so. House Republicans are now calling for Biden to be impeached. And this new report comes just weeks after Biden suspended his re-election campaign. Maria?
All right, Brooke, thanks very much. Brooke Singman. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces making...
Yeah, how about that? Well, we know we can't play that because, YouTube and Facebook don't like it. Kids probably have been kicked off of there already, but you never know. All right, here's a video of the soy boy. This is a result of mainstream media brainwashing weak-minded individuals. All right.
What are you drinking? Coke. Got to stay hydrated. Exactly. All right, so you're voting for Donald Trump? Yes. How come? Because he's the best for the country. Because he's the best for the country. Look at this weird guy. He's never lifted weight in his life. They call us weird. Are you really going to hit me? Are you really going to hit me? You want to go to jail for assault? You look like what's wrong with the Democrats? You look like Thomas Crooks. You look like Thomas Crooks. You're crazy. You better get out of here before you get your ass kicked. What a psycho. What's wrong with the Democrats? You're about to go viral.
You're about to go viral.
We got that on camera. Do you not have a job? Little soy boy. What are you drinking?
Yeah, full YouTube video coming soon. Yep. All right, Nicola 3. What the F is going on in Indonesia?
What in the ever-living fuck is that? Oh my God, what is that? I'm not even tripping. Oh, that's so scary. What in the ever-living fuck is that? Oh my God, what is that? I'm not even tripping. Oh, that's so scary. What in the ever-living...
Yeah. How about that? All right. What got kicked off? I got kicked off? Did they do it? Do I have to restart Facebook again? No, it's still there. Facebook's still there. Yeah. And I still have not gotten anything on the Facebook side, a warning or anything like that. So, yeah. And YouTube is playing. I don't know why everybody's having problems. All right, here we go.
President Trump took my advice and we are making pedophiles afraid again. Today, he announced he will impose a death penalty for pedophiles and sex traffickers once he gets back into the White House. My approach is still quicker, eco, and more budget-friendly, and I cannot wait to provide the beautiful bullets. Investigate every school, church, and government office for pedophiles, especially those hiding under the pride flag. I already caught 2, and I cannot wait to catch even more.
They not like us. They not like...
Yep. All right. Echo X. Here we go. It's a long one.
We went from the U.S. debt clock to Thomas X. This is a whole complete makeover right here. This was it before, and as you can tell, it made a complete overhaul update. But the question is right now is, Who is Thomas X? That is a question we have all been trying to figure out. Going all the way back from the very first time we saw Thomas's name in October 2023 of last year. I want to give a major shout out to one person in particular, and that being May Rocks, okay? Because she has been consistently sharing the information, uncovering the truth, and sharing it with the whole entire community. But God speaks to us in many different ways and points us in the direction that we need to go down. That right direction can lead you into conviction. And this is where we have conviction on what is about to happen. Make sure you're tapping in with her if you're not. Who is Thomas X? Is it this Thomas? Is it a reference to a doubting Thomas? Could it be Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massey, who is the guy that introduced the End the Fed bill most recently, who wears a U.S. debt clock on his chest? Or could it be Joel Katz, also known as David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple? I mean, he did help design the technology to provide liquidity for this upcoming market, and he has spoke vocally about different world reserve currencies. But then again, we have Elon Musk, who actually speaks very vocally about the U.S. national debt and its unsustainability. And even in this post, he tagged the U.S. Debt Clock's website. Or could it be Dan Shabino? Shout out to the master decoder Doug as he points this out. Game On, posted by Dan with the American flag and the American bald eagle, posted the same day that the U.S. Debt Clock X account updated. There's that number again, 17. Actually, throw all of those out the window because I believe it is Tom from MySpace. Although people are frustrated, they're puzzled, going all the way to questioning the legitimacy of this actual account. Whoever Thomas X is, he's doing a good service to humanity, because he is helping highlight critical issues that we, the people, should be asking about. The tough questions, right? The ones that they don't tell us about. Like, how does the whole entire financial system actually operate? Who controls it? What is it made of? All of those conspiracies behind it. Because God knows that they're not teaching us that. The mainstream media, our educational system, they're not teaching us any of that. Okay, let's go ahead and start decoding these images so we can start asking our own questions. So first things first, the logo. X marks the spot. We saw it on the Quantum Leap post, and as you can see, it's on the Sovereignty Citizen card, right? And this is why I'm saying that it doesn't make a difference of who Thomas X is, because we're probably never going to know. It's anonymous, you all. Decentralized identity, also known as DID, is going to be very important in this upcoming shift. Now, as we make our way over to the banner, you can see that this is a lot of information right here. The logo in the middle, and it looked like it unlocked, right? Because we have the 24 pointed stars and 13 stars in between there, right? We, the people, unlocking America. It reminds me of this vault, tapping into the U.S. Treasury that has real world assets backing this currency. Open Eden introduces tokenized U.S. Treasury bills onto the XRP ledger. This will allow institutions to have access to decentralized finance, also known as DeFi, which is driven by traditional real-world assets. These assets are backing Open Eden's new T-bill token. These T-bill tokens are then invested in short-dated US T-bills and reverse repurchase agreements, also known as repo contracts, collateralized by US Treasuries. The reason why they're choosing the XRP ledger is because it's meant for institutions to access things, real-world asset tokenization for institutional DeFi. Here is the diagram of how it works, okay? And what I want y'all to pay attention to is the T-bolt right there. That right there is where all of those real-world assets are tokenized on. It's in that vault. Again, that symbol, for some reason, it just looked like we unlocking it. unlock the future, own a share of America, as we are about to make this quantum leap over to the new USA money. In that case, there is, yes, going to be a lot of wealth that a lot of people are going to come into, right? But with that being said, what is the next step? Because, everybody's going to have money, right? Well, I tell you what the next step is going to be, at least what I feel like it's going to be. And it has everything to do with the map in the background. We've actually seen this map a couple times, both back in December, once on the 14th, the Great Awakening, and the next on the 17th, a new world. That map comes from the 1875 Centennial American Republic Railroad map of the United States. Originally, whenever I covered it, I didn't really dig into really what all the information is on this map because there's a lot of information. But looking at the position, it lines up with the image on the map. That image on the map is the main building for the 1876 Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia World Fair held in the United States, marking a significant moment for the nation on a global stage. This celebration as a nation was to celebrate our independence as a nation for the past 100 years. It helped showcase America's industrial innovation and cultural achievements from both domestic and international visitors from all over the world. This was a massive event covering over 285 acres over in Fairmount Park of Philadelphia. This event featured over 200 buildings, including iconic buildings such as the main exposition building, which at the time was the largest building in the world, covering 20 acres. To put that into visualization, that is 15 football fields side by side on that single building. That thing was a behemoth. This exposition attracted nearly 10 million visitors, and it only lasted for 6 months, from May 10th all the way to November 10th, 1876. With over 37 countries participating in the exposition, displaying a wide range of innovative products, cultural artifacts, this international presence showcased just how united the whole world really was, introducing us to some of the greatest innovations that we still use to this day, like the telephone, the typewriter, sewing machine, and even steam engines. And you know how we here in America love our food, as we were introduced to root beer, popcorn, bananas, and even the most famous Heinz ketchup. And for the first time in a World Fair history, there was a dedicated building known as the Women's Pavilion, showcasing women's contributions when it came to art, the industry, education, highlighting the growing movement of women's rights. The world quickly changed right after that exposition. This exposition helped America set forth into its new era. And I believe that we are about to embark on this expedition once again. But before we do, this is where I start asking questions. You see all of these buildings, right, that were set on this 265 acres in Pennsylvania. Only one of them is still around, and that's Memorial Hall, which is now an art gallery. You mean to tell me that you spent many months breaking ground to build one of the largest expositions to have it only last 6 months? Like, this is the smallest building out of all 5 of the buildings, and they just want to pretend that it never existed. But for some reason, it makes me feel like that they just wanted to erase it from history. Kind of similar to what happened back in the Chicago World Fair. It's just gone. I mean, you don't see the structure anymore. I think now it's just like a little parking lot. And the more I started digging into it, it led me to the same conclusion. The ones who controlled the money are the ones that wanted to erase it from history, because if they suppress innovation and technology, it won't make the NPCs and everybody in the world, smarter and knowledgeable and being able to communicate with each other. But they can only suppress technology and innovation for so long. The last time that the United States hosted a world fair was back in 1984. This thing looks embarrassing. It's a theme park. How are you celebrating any type of innovation right here? No wonder why so many countries around the world look down upon us from what we used to be to this. This is a freaking theme park. You think people are going to fly across the country, across the world just to, come to a theme park? Because they control the money, the media, the news, the schools, the education. Okay, they basically control our whole entire lives. It definitely makes me question, did we once have Tartaria, right? Because technology and innovation and all that was always there, but it all depends on who controls the money, because whoever controls the money controls the world and can basically rewrite history. But with that being said, we are changing the hands of the money handlers. We're living through biblical times. And I believe the reason why Thomas X chose those images is because he wanted to let us know we're about to have another world fair.
3 years from now, the United States will celebrate the biggest and most important milestone in our country's history. 250 years of American independence. What a great country. We have to keep it that way. But that's why, as a nation, we should be preparing for a most spectacular birthday party. We want to make it the best of all time. Here is my plan to give America's founding in 1776 the incredible anniversary it truly deserves. On day one, I will convene a White House task force called Salute to America 250. It will be responsible for coordinating with state and local governments to ensure not just one day of celebration, but an entire year of festivities across the nation, starting on Memorial Day 2025 and continuing through July 4th, 2026. Second, I will work with all 50 governors, Republican and Democrat alike, to create the Great American State Fair, a unique one-year exhibition featuring pavilions from all 50 states. It'll be something. The Great American State Fair will showcase the glory of every state in the Union, promote pride in our history, and put forth innovative visions for America's future. My hope is that the amazing people of Iowa will work with my administration to open up the legendary Iowa State Fairgrounds to host the Great American State Fair and welcome millions and millions of visitors from around the world to the heartland of America for this special one-time festival. Together we will build it and they will come. Third, alongside the Great American State Fair, we will host major sporting contests for high school athletes. These are great athletes, wonderful athletes from fantastic high schools all around the country. These Patriot Games will allow young Americans from every state to show off the best of American skills, sportsmanship, and competitive spirit. Fourth, I will sign an executive order to bring back our National Garden of American Heroes, which we want to build very badly. Commission artists for the first 100 statues to populate this new statuary park, honoring the greatest Americans of all time. Fifth, as president, I will invite the leaders and citizens of nations around the world to visit the United States in honor of our 250th anniversary. It's going to be great. America's tourist industry should get ready because we're going to have a lot of people coming. It will be a record year. And finally, and most importantly, I will ask America's great religious communities to pray for our nation and our people as we prepare for this momentous occasion. From the very beginning, America has been a country sustained and strengthened by prayer and by our communities of faith. As we chart a course toward the next 250 years, let us come together and rededicate ourselves as one nation under God. Thank you.
The first time in human history where we, the people, are going to be in control of this technology as we go on to a decentralized economy. a digital world that creates a level playing field for all. I'm going to go into my own little prediction. Not saying I'm going to be 100% right, but it just makes sense in my head, right? But first and foremost, Donald Trump will once again be our president, okay? In 2025, the whole entire monetary system will change as we shift from a debt-based system over to a credit-based system, and it's going to be very fast, also known as the quantum leap. Because you got to think globally right now, it takes a long time to send money across borders, a couple days up to a week. And we're about to cut that all the way down to a few seconds globally. Since we, the people, are going to own these assets, we are going to be very wealthy, along with many, many people around the world. This is where I believe we, the people, will help fund this fair. Because similar to what they did back in the Centennial Exposition, they showcased all this innovative technology. Because we are inviting these up and coming technologies and projects to showcase their information, instead of charging them to set up a booth or a vendor, I believe that we're going to be doing it Shark Tank style, because we're moved away from the debt-based system and we're going over to the credit-based system, right? So with all these innovative technologies, we will actually ask for a piece of the equity within their product, right, in their company. This way, these projects can actually focus on what is important, which is actually developing these new innovative technology and advancements instead of worrying about the interest that they have to pay on a loan. This is where those humanitarian projects that everybody talks about, this is where they will come in at, right? If you have a great idea, a great business, right? I believe that you're going to have your opportunity to pitch it at this fair. This event could bring together humanity once again, uniting all of us to empower and embrace the new innovation and technology that we see forward in front of our very eyes, being able to come together, communicate, unite to build our own Tower of Babel. It's going to be amazing to see what comes out of all of this. But one thing is for sure, I am very blessed, and you should be as well, to be on the right side of history. This is why it's so important to know what you hold. Let's go.
I don't really want involved with building a new Tower of Babel. I really don't. Yeah. Elon Musk says, wow, Aaron Sibarium says, how bad are hate speech laws in the UK, saying it's okay to be white can result in harsher sentence than child pornography. Yeah. The stickers had phrases like, it's okay to be white, reject white guilt, and they seek conquest, not asylum. Judge Tom Bayless said the publication of this kind of material is corrosive to our society, further telling Malia that I am quite sure that your mindset is that of a racist and a white supremacist. Bayless sentenced to Malia to 2 years in prison. Yet in 2017, Bayless spared a man from jail who possessed child and bestiality pornography, stating, I don't pretend for one moment to know what possesses someone like you to get sexual pleasure from watching children as young as 3 or 6 or 7 being raped. That is what you are watching. Yeah. I'm not sure that guy should be a judge. Yep. All right. New smoking gun documents show real Donald Trump was right about Biden and Obama corruption, which is why they abused power to try to destroy him. Here we go. Tom Fenton.
And when all of the Obama people knew that there was this corruption issue with Joe and Hunter, and when Trump brought it up, they impeached him for it because they wanted the cover for not only Joe and Hunter, but Obama. So I was commenting, I think I was on Maria's bottle. Who was I? think I was on Maria's show, Fox Business, and I made the point here. It's amazing what this corrupt city wants us to do. They just want us to pretend that all these terrible things and acts of corruption that happened simply don't matter anymore, and that we're all supposed to move along. I mean, for example, there was new information released by the New York Times. They were stonewalled by their own admission by the State Department that confirmed criminality and lies by Joe and Hunter Biden. I commented on it the other day from the Metro.
Hey, in case you missed it, President Trump was again vindicated when news broke that Hunter Biden solicited help from the Obama-Biden administration for Burisma. The State Department, the corrupt State Department, finally released the documents this week to the New York Times. They've been asking for them for years. Further vindication that Trump was right to pursue Burisma corruption as it related to the Bidens, and how the coup against him, the impeachment against him, was so corrupt and dishonest, obviously designed to protect Biden from accountability. And of course, this city is so corrupt. Obviously, Obama knew about this corruption as well, and they all need to be held fully accountable. It's not too late.
Yeah, and this is what I tweeted about it, referencing the New York Times story. So he asked the State Department, I think it was the U.S. Embassy in Italy, for help in setting up meetings for Burisma. Even the New York Times admitted, this is their language, after President Biden dropped his re-election bid, his administration released records showing that while he was vice president, his son solicited U.S. government assistance. And as I highlight parenthetically, the Obama gang knew all about Biden corruption. I've highlighted previously to you before how the State Department knew full well what Hunter Biden was up to with Burisma. We had uncovered documents, actually it's now 2 or 3 years ago, showing that the State Department and the Ukraine embassy understood that Biden had a corruption problem with, or at least the appearance of a corruption problem with Hunter's role in the Burisma board, a controversial Ukrainian company that was under investigation for corruption. And what happened is the ambassador, Yovanovitch, remember her, the anti-Trump ambassador, was communicating with another State Department official, and that other official said, hey, look, Biden is going, and he went to Ukraine just before Trump came into office. Russians were, and he was supposedly on an anti-corruption mission, and the Russians were mocking him in Russian-controlled media or aligned media, saying that it's basically Joe Biden's son, Hunter, his involvement in Burisma makes his opposition to corruption in Ukraine a sick joke. And according to the State Department document, they said the Russians were trolling the administration, the Obama administration, and they said Burisma was the gift that kept on giving. So all of the Obama people knew that there was this corruption issue with Joe and Hunter. And when Trump brought it up, they impeached him for it because they wanted to cover for not only Joe and Hunter, but Obama, because he allowed this corruption to fester under his watch as his top people tried to manage Hunter's leveraging of Joe Biden's public office for private gain. And so now we have this further confirmation from the State Department that they covered up for years that Hunter was doing exactly what we were told never happened, which was lobbying the federal government while his father was vice president for help for his company. And we have all been told those were lies, when in fact that was the truth. And we have new information coming out from the corrupt Justice Department investigation of Hunter that was curtailed and restricted in a way to protect Hunter and Joe from full accountability for this foreign bribery scandal, that Hunter was doing this repeatedly with other countries, including Romania, for example. and his work for Burisma with Italy and lobbying the U.S. government, those are other bribery issues, or what they call the Foreign Agents Registration Act, that weren't pursued by this corrupted Justice Department. They let the statute of limitations lapse. So it's good there's something going on, but the only reason anything's going on against Hunter Biden, whether it be those gun charges that he was convicted of or the tax charges he's currently facing, is because their corrupt scheme to shuffle it all away through a sweetheart plea agreement was blown up by a federal court judge in Delaware who asked some intemperate questions. I shouldn't say intemperate because they were really basic. And the whole thing collapsed under the weight of its own corruption. And so they were kind of forced to do these bare minimum of indictments against Hunter. So what did Kamala Harris know? When did she know it about Burisma? You know, these are the sorts of questions that I have. I understand Republicans are running, President Trump is running for president. And, you have to remember, campaigns have specific goals they need to address or try to achieve. And that often means they're not going to focus on the issues someone like me would focus on. And this is why it's important to have an independent civil society, independent groups who raise these questions because they deserve answers. Because candidates may not have the capacity to raise it, or, they're focused on something else. And that's the charitable interpretation. Some politicians never want to raise corruption issues. And this is why Judicial Watch always comes up and stands strong for the truth and accountability on these corruption issues. We don't give up on them. Even if people say, oh, you should move along. Oh, President Biden was removed through a coup from the head of the ticket for president by the Democratic Party. How did that happen, as I say? Who picked Kamala Harris to run for president? No one's asked that question. What about those 14, 15 million votes? They're all just been disappeared by the Democratic Party. How is that democracy? I think there are serious issues about how she became the nominee. I was just looking at records today, and I noticed all of the campaign headquarters is up in Delaware. I mean, talk about the coup. I mean, they moved into Biden's offices up in Delaware. And I know the media is complaining, and many others are complaining, that Kamala isn't wanting to talk. Why should she talk? It's perfectly consistent with a coup. I mean, Biden essentially admitted the other day, we didn't talk about it before the show, it just occurred to me now, so I don't think we had the video, that he left because of pressure from Nancy Pelosi. And then Nancy Pelosi had a video the other day, or an interview the other day, where she says the letter that Biden resigned with didn't sound like Biden. Who is running the government right now? We're supposed to forget about Biden's cognitive difficulties, his disability. I don't think we should forget it. I think we should be concerned. Every time there's a tweet, I shouldn't say every time because I don't respond to every tweet, but I often note when something comes out of the Biden White House or Joe Biden's accounts, I say whoever is running the Biden administration posted the following information, because I don't think Joe is running the Biden administration. And those are the sorts of questions I would have for Kamala Harris. And of course, where are the Republicans in Congress, the nominally opposition party? They're on vacation for an entire, 6 weeks. So I went on vacation last week for 5 days. They're on vacation for 6 weeks. The House Republicans won't get back to Washington, D.C. until September 8th, after Labor Day. I think that's the date. How much vacation do you get? We have inflation. We have this assassination attempt crisis. We have the border invasion. We have the coup on President Biden. The obliviation, I call it obliviation. It is a word. Obliteration is the other way of putting it. Of the 15 million votes in the primary. Biden's cognitive challenge. All those issues they don't want to talk about. They want us to move along. I'm not going to move along. Judicial Watch isn't going to move along.
Yep, Judicial Watch is not going to move along. Yep. Here we go.
Did I watch the DNC? Well, the short answer would be no. But the long answer would be hell no, because I'm not going to absolutely torture myself by forcing myself to watch what was basically a 4-hour-long 2 minutes of hate speech like something seen out of the 1984 book. I cannot stand to sit there and listen to the exact same people who have been voting in favor for damaging policies these last 4 years that have ruined the economy, created massive division, and promoted socialism get up on stage and sit there and pretend like they care and that they're working for the American people, when it's clear they've only been working for themselves. They are the biggest hypocrites in this country, and understand every single time that they say Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, understand they mean their idea of democracy, which is breaking down and completely getting rid of our constitutional republic.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
Did I watch the DNC?
Yep. Now I'm going to hit that one. Here we go.
You have to hear this. Kroger is rolling out digital price tags that could increase based on how much they think they could get you to pay. I wish I was kidding. Kroger, the multi-billion-dollar grocery conglomerate, has recently begun partnerships with Microsoft and the AI company Intelligence Node to create technologies to better price gouge consumers. Like the big bad wolf of grocery stores. All the better to price gouge you with, my dear. Together, the companies created the electronic shelving label Edge, a digital price tag that employees can change at the press of a button. What's the problem with that, you ask? If it's hot outside, we can raise the price of water, says grocery industry analysts. But that's not even where it gets particularly alarming. Cameras are going to be placed outside these digital displays. So when you go pick your cereal, facial recognition software could be assessing your age and gender and determining how much you're willing to pay for that cereal based off of your demographics. What makes this all worse is that Kroger is a grocery conglomerate. Kroger is Fred Meyer's, Food for Less, Ralph's, QFC, to name a few. And if the merger with Albertsons goes through, even more grocery stores will become Kroger's, meaning that this technology will be hurting thousands of people across the U.S.
Yep. Thousands of people across the U.S. All right. Here we go.
So if you want to be upset and pissed off and you don't want to vote for Trump, cool. Have a real reason. And stop talking about reproductive rights. Can you afford to pay your rent? Can you afford to not be on this app begging for money on lives for hours at a time because you can't pay for anything? Oh, wait, no, maybe you're going to be a content creator and then you're going to make millions of dollars on TikTok. You're not. You know why? Because the Biden-Harris administration, the left, the Democrats, the liberals, and Kamala, if she gets in the White House, are going to take TikTok away. Then where are you going to beg? Going to beg on the sidewalk because there's not going to be a TikTok. Right? You guys are focused on the wrong thing. If you don't like Trump, nobody cares. But you cannot vote for Kamala because she's black or whatever. And you can't vote for her because someone told you he's going to take away your reproductive rights. He would have done it already if he was going to do it. And there's no he wants to take away Social Security. That's a lie. That's what they're doing. I promise you, if you're in your 40s, by the time you turn 67, there isn't going to be any. You know why? Because they're sending Social Security to Ukraine. They want to save those people because they're in war with Russia, and they want to save their pensions. They don't give a fuck about the United States citizens, you dummies. Oh, I'm going to vote for the Kamala, or I'm going to not vote at all. Don't vote at all. No, don't. It doesn't matter. You vote for her, you vote for nobody. It doesn't matter. What's happening in the UK right now, where that migrant killed 3 kids and the British citizens went into the street to protest and then had to run back and hide in their houses because those terrorists had, the migrants who are terrorists were running down the street with machetes and knives, chasing the citizens because there's no Second Amendment right there. We at least have that. Oh, she's going to take that away. She's already said that. So when the Venezuelan gangs in New York start migrating across the country, you have to keep your silly ass in the house because you're not going to be able to be outside with a weapon because you're going to get arrested. Oh, wait. And since we're talking about immigration and migrants, you do realize that Minneapolis just passed a law that they're going to sound an alarm 5 times a day that indicates when the Muslims need to pray in Minneapolis, United States of America. That's what they do in their country. So they want to come here for the freedoms of the United States country, but they want to bring their rituals and their lifestyles to this country. You can pray 50,000 times a day. I think prayer is good, but now we're going to take a tradition from another country and bring it here. You think that's not going to happen to every state in this country? You know why? Because the migrants are going to take over this country. It is not about Black jobs anymore. It's not about any of that. The stock market crashed 2.9 trillion on Friday because corporate Americas, they know. They're like, oh shit, we got to get our money out of there because they're all running scared because they're probably thinking she's going to win. And if she wins, we're done. Yeah. And if you're wondering why Netflix gave Kamala $7 million, think about it. Take your brain from he's going to take my reproductive rights away and just say, what was the country like 3.5 years ago? If you don't want to give him credit, don't give him credit, but it wasn't this. Can you afford to buy your kids back to school supplies? Probably not. Do you want to have to buy your kids their things so they have to share it with the whole class because the government does not give subsidies to the public schools to buy supplies for your kids? But you're like, oh, he's going to take my reproductive rights away. What difference does it make? You're not going to be able to buy food, pay your rent, pay your credit card. The migrants are going to take over the whole country like they're already doing. I mean, New York is a shit show, and I'm from New York. I will never go there again. But you guys are like this, but you want to focus on Trump taking away your reproductive rights when that's not what he's going to do. And all for you, the guys that are on here talking about, oh, look at Project 2025, dummies. He didn't write that. That's a propaganda. He didn't write that. Show me the proof where he wrote that. And it's interesting.
That's right. It was done by the Heritage Foundation, is who wrote Project 2025, a think tank that has absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump. Yep. Yeah, so they're attacking Jewish people. Yeah. Joy at the DNC, Palestinians attacking Jewish delegates. But are they Palestinians? I mean, truthfully, are they really? Yeah. This is what bought and paid for looks like. Stabbing people in the back. I bet she got a new house. Does anyone want to go down the rabbit hole of Stephanie Grissom, the former press secretary for President Trump?
I wasn't just a Trump supporter. I was a true believer. I was one of his closest advisors. The Trump family became my family. I spent Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all at Mar-a-Lago. I saw him when the cameras were off. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him. He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth. I wasn't just a Trump supporter.
Yeah. She'll be next. She'll be the next one on the chopping block. Yeah. James O'Keefe says undercover at the DNC convention for 2 days. They had no idea. Full video drops tomorrow. Stay tuned. Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right.
Versus fiction for 60 straight days.
Oh, they're advertising already. We're going to get back to Edward for more on this report. Edward, wrap it up.
Well, and yeah, but there is a lot of confusion that we actually, that is an old number. We do not have the number as of yet. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is still trying to work on their website and get this number pushed out. Apparently, they're having some issues on there and some technical issues. So again, that 306,000 was an old number. We're going to get the new number, estimates between 500,000 and 1 million for revisions down. We're going to get that
Did they say, meaning old, how old, when?
This from last year. That's a number from last year where the benchmark was revised down in March of 2023. So now we're trying to figure out what the numbers are this year. That obviously everyone is trying to get this number. So the website having a little bit of issues. There's some technical problems trying to push this out. And as you push it out to everyone who is trying to get this number, refresh. We
Edward,
just
they need to work on that rural broadband out in
Versus fiction for 60 straight days.
Oh, they're advertising already. We're going to get back to Edward for more on this report. Edward, wrap it up.
Well, and yeah, but there is a lot of confusion that we actually, that is an old number. We do not have the number as of yet. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is still trying to work on their website and get this number pushed out. Apparently, they're having some issues on there and some technical issues. So again, that 306,000 was an old number. We're going to get the new number, estimates between 500,000 and 1 million for revisions down. We're going to get that
Did they say, meaning old, how old, when?
This from last year. That's a number from last year where the benchmark was revised down in March of 2023. So now we're trying to figure out what the numbers are this year. That obviously everyone is trying to get this number. So the website having a little bit of issues. There's some technical problems trying to put this out. And as you to everyone who was.
All right. Remember when?
This is Senator Barack Obama's stately home in a pricey Chicago neighborhood. Inside the iron fence that surrounds his home is a vacant lot that lies at the heart of the controversy over Obama's relationship with his friend and campaign contributor, Tony Rezko. When Obama bought the home in 2005, the seller insisted that the house and the lot be sold at the same time. But Obama says he couldn't afford the lot. Here's the realtor for the seller talking about the Obamas.
They were not interested in the lot at any point. It wasn't even on the table for them.
That's where his longtime friend Rezko comes into the picture. In June 2005, Rezko's wife bought the lot for $625,000, full price. And on the same day, Obama bought his home for $1,650,000, $300,000 below asking price. At the time, it had been widely reported that Rezko was under scrutiny in various investigations for possible political corruption. Rezko was later indicted for bribery and fraud. Critics say that in paying full price for the lot, Rezko may have essentially subsidized Obama's purchase, which Obama strongly disputes. The realtor who represented the seller says Obama could not have bought the house unless someone bought the lot at the same time.
It was a requirement of the listing that they close on the same day.
Obama strongly denies any wrongdoing, but now calls the deal a boneheaded mistake.
This was a above the board market-based transaction. Everybody who's looked at it has acknowledged as such, but there's no doubt that it was a mistake on my part.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, let's keep going with interesting.
Makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States?
She's not. She didn't go through the voting process. They scared of the system, but I was all by design.
So how do you think it's even possible that she is now running for president when she wasn't even voted in to be the electoral?
Good question. Because
to be the person.
Because it's part of prophecy. If you look at like Egyptian, Kamala means lotus flower. Out of the lotus flower comes the sun god Ra. So what she's going to bring what he wanted. Back in the day, the sun god, along with Akhenaten, they were the rulers of the dynasty back in the day. They're going to bring economic doom because what you have to do, you have to destroy it before you rebuild it. They're gradually doing it now. That's why they got to have these conventions, because they need you to make a covenant with them and be in agreement with them to move forward. That's all this is. It's an exercise to participate in your own doom.
Okay.
This whole system was not built for American citizens. It was built for secret groups to run it. And they're running it. And allegedly Kamala and all them, they're part of.
I don't remember this black guy's name. Franchette. Yep. Franchette Pearson. Absolutely. That's who that is. He's talking to Franchette. Wow. Of all the people who go out and interview, right? Yeah. Here we go.
So yesterday, I realized how sick you guys really are when you defended Planned Parenthood as a feature at the DNC to terminate pregnancies and give vasectomies, and you thought it was okay. I realized how ignorant you were when you wanted to argue with me and say it was Plan B when it wasn't, when you could go to the Planned Parenthood site and see what it was. You can go to their Twitter or their X and see what it was. I realized you have no reverence to time and place, not even life yet, but time and place. I realized that you will go to extremes to defend the ending and termination of a life, and you just think it's okay. I realize that it's willful ignorance, especially for you Black people and you liberal white saviors, because that's what you think you are. I realize that it's willful ignorance when there's a reason that they're always in inner city, urban areas, why that bus is not in any other kind of community. They're always in inner city, poor communities, and you still somehow find it okay to back up and support it. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm not against choice in your first trimester, but I am against the targeting of minorities. I'm against the targeting of the inner city. And this is no different than the payday loans. They put it in certain places because they know you're vulnerable. And quite frankly, your support of this makes me sick.
Oh. Tell them like it is. All right, here's another one.
Okay, so since I have so many Christians in my comment section asking me how I can vote for Trump, I have a question for y'all Christian Democrats, okay? How in the world do you find it acceptable that at the Democratic National Convention, they have a mobile clinic? Can someone do me a solid and answer that, okay? Y'all keyboard warriors have no issue coming in the comments on my other videos. So I'm going to need y'all to show up on this one because asking for a friend and myself, everybody, your grandma, your mother, all of them. Like how are we thinking that this is okay? And also, how can we justify a candidate that is like one of the main things that they speak about and hype up? I am so genuinely curious because you guys come in my comments and say things like, oh, well, Trump is a racist and I don't even know. You guys just make up crazy stuff that the media brainwashes you to believe. But it's like, Trump was already our president, you guys. All the black people did not get put into slave camps. What are y'all talking about? If anything, do you know how many black colleges that he rescued, that he literally funded and pulled them out of going under? Like, do you know all of the things that he's actually done for the African-American community? Do you want to know what's truly racist? And I'm like feeling amped up on this one. Do you want to know what's racist? Kamala talks black, right? Which that in itself is racist. She changes her voice around people. That is like such a slap in the face, you guys. Like, I literally can't. So, I'm inviting you guys in the comment section this time. Go ahead, go for it. Let me know how in the world are you standing for this? Okay, go.
Okay, go. This is a short clip, but during the Black Caucus meeting at the DNC Convention Center, the radical speaker said, we got 70 days to act right. After 70 days, we can go back to acting crazy. That's weird. That's weird. Short clip.
Go back there and crazy. Right? We got 70 days to act right, y'all. That's right. Now, after 7 days, we can go back there and crazy.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Most important election ever.
There is still, because God still hasn't forgotten America, there is still hope. There is still hope. There is still deliverance for this nation. And we as people who stand on truth must stand together, because our country is at a crossroad. And where if we lose this election, we will be a real banana republic. We will lose. And we cannot let the communists, the Marxists win. And so that's really where we are. And so we got to stand together, get out to vote, and just know that this is our hour. We can't lose this. This is the most important election ever. If we lose this, America's gone. Yeah. And as a veteran, I fought for this country for 8 years, and I can tell you, to see them burn the flag, man, and to see the veterans homeless. I saw this guy in New York. I'm from New York. I saw this guy sitting on the corner with his dog, homeless, and the illegal aliens coming out of a luxury hotel. And I just lost it, because I know that that's not right. We didn't go and fight for this country for that to happen. And so for Harris and all these warps, ungodly, wicked people, we can't let that happen, folks. We got to pull together, get out the vote, and save our country. Yes, God bless America. God bless America. God bless America. Make America great again. Never surrender. All right? We can't.
Yep. And here's another.
Well, I'm not going to give my speech again. He'll have to check it out on the TV. But the board of directors of the Kenosha Professional Police Association are proud to endorse President Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance.
This is the second endorsement from a local law enforcement here in Wisconsin. Tell me why that's so important to you in your campaign.
Well, I think it speaks to the fact that law enforcement knows who's on their side, right? Donald Trump has been endorsed by so many law enforcement organizations across the country, but now 2 in the state of Wisconsin just the past week, because they know that Donald Trump is the one who's actually going to stand up for them and support them. I mean, look, we have got real problems in law enforcement recruitment in this country, and certainly right here in the state of Wisconsin. A lot of our police departments are underfunded and under-resourced. We don't have enough cops to do the job of keeping us safe. And then on top of that, we've got Mexican drug cartels operating as far north as Kenosha, Wisconsin, because we have a border czar, Kamala Harris, who refuses to do her job. These guys just want common sense back, right? Some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans. Maybe they agree or disagree with us on tax policy, but they agree with us that we've got to have common sense public safety. And if we don't have public safety, we don't have anything. You can't build a business. You can't go to work. You can't take your kids on a walk in your neighborhood without public safety. Public safety is the foundation of having a good country. And the police of Wisconsin know Donald Trump is the public safety candidate.
Yep. All right, here we go. Don Lemon gets screwed on this one big time.
How are you feeling about the election?
I'm going for Trump. I feel like every time they don't want
somebody who was good for us to win, they throw somebody black in our face thinking that's going to like make us vote for the black person.
I voted for Obama because he was black. I don't want to vote for her because she's the first black woman to run for president or to win.
I don't vote.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I want Donald Trump.
Why do you apologize?
Well, I know nobody likes him, but we had good times with Donald Trump.
I'm running for Trump, so.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why?
Yeah. I don't know. I just always been a fan of his, so that's what I'm running for.
I used to be against Trump. I used to live in Virginia. I saw the bad side of it, but really moving to Cleveland, but I saw the other side of it.
I'm supporting Trump.
Because?
Because it has to change.
Yeah.
It has to change. And now I vote more for what fits me better as a person rather than voting for the black person or voting for the first woman. So
What do you think about Kamala Harris?
I think they say she phony and fake, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, I'm like Trump saying, you know, what are you, you know? So I'm not feeling her. People get mad about it. I'm just not feeling her.
I don't like her the way she speaks, the giddiness, the laughing. Everything's a joke, and it's not a joke. We're in trouble.
I'm going for Trump. Kamala was on Biden's team, and I don't like Biden. Gas wasn't this high when Trump was our president. Food wasn't this high. I'm going for Trump.
Yep. I'm voting for Trump. That's right. Here's a look at some of the houses owned by speakers at the last night's Democratic National Convention who spoke out against inequality in America and urged voters to fight back against evil rich people like Donald Trump and his entire and his friends. Yeah, look at these houses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Tulsi Gabbard, here we go.
Trump debate prep specialist and former 2020 presidential candidate, Tulsi Gabbard. All right, so Tulsi, you really zeroed in on Kamala Harris. What was it about Kamala that opened you up for that kind of attack?
Really, Jesse, it was exposing her for her hypocrisy. She is a typical politician who will say one thing and do another. Rules for thee, but not for me. And that's a reflection of exactly how she is going through this debate prep. She's got her pollsters surrounding her. They're telling her word for word exactly the things that she needs to say, the lines she needs to memorize so that she can act and put on a big show in this debate. And it's such a huge contrast. You saw once she was confronted and challenged a little bit on her hypocrisy, she didn't respond very well. And I think that points to the big contrast that the American people will see in this upcoming debate. President Trump is real. He is not a politician by any means. I don't think we want another typical politician who is choosing their every word very carefully. He's a real person, a strong leader, a strong debater who has strong views on issues. And you don't have to guess where he stands on those issues, and you don't have to guess about what he will do because he's got 4 years of a record to stand on of success.
So that's what happened with Biden. They spent a week at Camp David pumping him full of memorized lines in between lasagna runs, and he couldn't keep it together. He couldn't memorize it, and then he couldn't deliver it, and he fell apart. Trump just boom, boom, fell apart. You're saying Kamala Harris is similar? They're basically phony hypocrites, have to memorize things in order to get by because they can't be honest with what they believe. So Trump just has to come out, as you did, hit her square between the eyes and she crumbles?
Yeah, President Trump has shown through 2016, 2020, 2024 with his debate with Joe Biden, he's a phenomenal debater. He knows his record. He knows the issues. If I can be helpful anywhere, it is sharing the tricks that Kamala Harris will try to use to lie to the American people and try to make them forget what her true radical record is. We just saw she laid out her big economic plan, and it was a very memorized speech. The moment she was challenged by a reporter, she said, "It's a mistake for you to ask me what it costs. Don't ask me what this is going to cost." This is what we will see more of from Kamala Harris.
Yeah. And more Fox News.
Democrats winning any new voters at this convention?
I highly doubt it. I think this is all playing to their own base, not trying to recruit new people, because clearly the Democratic Party, my party, is not interested in talking about what matters. How are you going to keep people safe? How are you going to secure the border? And how are you going to deal with the 8 million undocumented individuals that they let in under Kamala Harris's lead?
Democrats winning any new voters at this convention?
Yeah. Bill Clinton, a serial sexual predator and a man who raped me in 1978, will be the guest speaker at the DNC tonight, says Juanita Broderick. Yeah, the DNC has no shame. They have no shame. Yeah, isn't that something? Andrew Tate, this is 72 hours before his house was raided. As part of an investigation including human trafficking and sex with a minor. There we go.
I'm a dual citizen, American, British national, so this is just into my head. If you're an American pedophile with a British passport, can you hide from the American government in England?
I have no idea.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot is the answer.
But you can in Israel.
Why is an Israeli passport make you immune from extradition for any, especially sexual crimes committed in the West? So you think that's a bit strange?
That's terrible. They should reverse that. You have to realize the Israeli nation state was founded by atheists. Like David Ben-Gurion is an atheist. He's an amoral guy. So anything like that, there's plenty Israel does wrong. Believe me, I would have them change it.
Okay, so let's remove religion for a second. Let's just talk about this logically. Let's remove religion from it for a second. So we're talking about a nation state where if you have the passport, you can hide from your crimes anywhere else in the world. If you're the leader of this nation, it doesn't matter what the International Court of Justice says about your arrest warrant. You can ignore that. You can openly bribe politicians, openly, and you're the only country who can ever do it. You're the only country who's ever attacked America and not felt repercussion. You're the only country that can't be criticized without the person having genuine detriment to their everyday life. You're the only country protected by the mainstream media endlessly. You're the only country that can commit genocide. You're the only country that can rape prisoners of war. Don't you think this is extremely unusual? And that there's certainly something going on behind the scenes that's not just a matter of, oh, AIPAC, they try and bribe politicians, but so does China. Don't you think there's something else going on?
Yeah. Interesting. And here we go with Kamala Harris demanded that her plane circle in the air for an extra 15 minutes so she could listen to her husband speak at the DNC.
Yeah, you know, the vice president was returning to Chicago after having campaigned in Milwaukee earlier in the day, and she was on Air Force Two when her husband, Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, began speaking at the convention. So the plane actually circled for an extra 15 minutes, we're told, in the sky so she could finish watching his speech. Of course, yeah, you know, the vice president was returning to Chicago after having campaigned in Milwaukee earlier in.
Yeah. All right. Donald Trump.
Thank you, everybody, very much.
Oh, let me read the context of this so everybody understands what his response would be. It says, Kamala's campaign attacked you for being in here in Lowell, Michigan, or Howell, Michigan, because it's associated with white supremacy. Here's his response.
Who was here in 2021? Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So he asked who was here in 2021, and it turns out that it was Joe Biden. And so, yeah, I think that sometimes it's easier to step into shit than it is to step out of it. You know what I'm saying? So. All right, here we go. Tom McDonald.
We have to stay woke. Like everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke.
Well, Kamala, on a scale from Dylan Mulvaney to Black Lives Matter, how woke do you want us to be? Because we're about 1 second from trans Jedis having rainbow lightsabers, and half of the world's women already have wieners. So we're woke. We are woke. Yeah, hi. If you would have told me 6 months ago that there was a human being on Earth that was dumber than Joe Biden, I wouldn't have believed you. Like, who's dumber than Joe Biden? One of those Gen Z kids who identifies as a bucket? Someone who's experienced a traumatic brain injury? Nope. It's presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Hey, the answer to all of the world's problems isn't people becoming more woke. The answer is people waking up. And when you wake up on Friday morning at 9 a.m., I'm going to be dropping a brand new music video.
Yeah, we know. All right. Hillary Clinton. Oh, boy, this is a good one.
Legal, but it needs to be safe and rare. And I have spent many years now as a private citizen, as First Lady, and now as Senator, trying to make it rare, trying to create the conditions where women had other choices. I have supported adoption, foster care. I helped to create the campaign against teenage pregnancy, which fulfilled our original goal 10 years ago of reducing teenage pregnancies by about a third. And I think we have to do even more. You know, when I think about this issue, I think about the whole range of concerns and challenges associated with it. And I will continue to do what I can to reduce the number and to improve and increase the care for women, and particularly the adoption system and the other opportunities that women would have to make different choices.
I do not view abortion as a choice and a right. I think it's always a tragedy, and I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions.
Yeah, it's funny that their opinions change. Yeah. You know, what can we say? You know, what can we say? Woman drove home with a fuel hose still attached.
What did you do?
Why are you guys laughing?
What did you do?
I don't know what I did.
You broke the bomb. Look, you got
Well, next time you put gas. Why you have me doing it? You're the man. You should be doing it.
You're the stubborn one, hard-headed.
What kind of man are you?
I told I was going to do it later.
What kind of man are you? You should have been doing that.
And I told you I was going to do it later.
Now look what happened.
That's your fault. Don't blame me for that.
I blame you.
Yeah. This is that shit actually going down. Yeah. Bye-bye. Yep, there it went. Yeah, this is a bold-faced lie. PBS needs to apologize and pull Judy off the air.
Delicate tightrope to walk here, right?
It is. I would venture to say, without hearing this directly from anybody, that one thing that the Harris campaign would love is if President Biden would bring home a ceasefire in the Middle East right now between Gaza and Israel. And we know that Secretary of State Blinken is over there right now working with Netanyahu. The reporting is that former President Trump is on the phone with the Prime Minister of Israel, urging him not to cut a deal right now because it's believed that would help the Harris campaign. So I don't know where that, I don't know, who knows whether that will come about or not. But I have to think that the Harris campaign would like for President Biden to do what presidents do, which is work on that one. Yeah. And maybe there's some other domestic issues that, they'd like to see come home.
David, there is this.
Donald Trump has said all along that he wanted peace. He said people are dying that don't need to die. This lady's a lying piece of crap. And I used to donate to PBS, because of the children's programming. I won't give them a dime again, especially with people like this, being there. So, Art Del.
I'm Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council. America needs a commander-in-chief who's tough on illegal immigration. Kamala Harris fails that test.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct. That is correct.
Kamala was Biden's border czar. She supported sanctuary cities and taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. And she created the worst border crisis in American history. Kamala Harris is dangerous.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Vice President.
All right. Britain is broken. Here we go.
Young children. Can you make it make sense how a paedophile, convicted paedophile, and we're talking about very young children here, gets a suspended 12-month sentences, but a one Facebook post gets a middle-aged woman, what she said was stupid, not condoning that, but one Facebook post gets her 15 months in prison straight away with no chance for an early release. David, can you just make it make sense for me, please?
Dawn, I wish I...
Can you make it make sense how a...
Yep. The news is asking questions and nobody's listening. You're Donald Trump Jr. and Benny Thompson.
So last night, Barack
Benny
Obama and his wife, Michelle, here in Chicago, talked about the grievances of being poor and how tough life is for them.
Did they do that for Martha's Vineyard? Did they call that in, or was it live? I didn't watch it.
And we've been spending the first half of the show talking about how at least there's like this level of authenticity to your father and to your entire family that says, like, we built things, we did it in the private sector, and my father's a billionaire. And that's okay. That's actually the American dream. And I remember when Barack Obama wrote his first book, he called your father the American dream, actually. And there's been quite a tone change, but you talk about how the press has been covering up for people. Nobody seems to ask them questions about Hawaii houses, about houses here in multi-million-dollar houses in Chicago, multi-million-dollar houses in California, multi-million-dollar houses in Martha's Vineyard. They're still trotting out the same lines that we're poor and we come from, and we're impoverished, and we got to do something to fix it.
Yeah, no, it was shocking. I saw that on Twitter this morning. I didn't watch the speech. I just, there's only so much time. I figure I can get the clips. I don't have to, put myself through. I got enough headaches for the next, 80 something days to have to do that to myself. But, literally, like, I saw the clips of Michelle Obama complaining about, my mother said never to trust anyone that has more than their fair share. I'm like, you have homes. Like, you have an $18 million home in Martha's Vineyard. Like, I'm the son of a billionaire. I don't got anywhere near that. Like, compared to, like, I'm like, I don't understand. And again, they sell it like it's real. Like, it's lunacy. Look at the money they got for, the podcast that no one watched. And look at the money for the book tours and for the this, that, and the other. I mean, it doesn't jive with anything. It's just one big payoff scheme. But, they can say it with a straight face, and their people are so brainwashed. They're such lemmings. They're such sheep in the Democrat Party. They're the same people still wearing masks because, monkeypox is breaking out, and that's going to be the next thing. If it's not World War III or nuclear holocaust, that's going to be the excuse to screw around with this election. But, they don't even see the irony in it anymore. It's spectacular.
Yeah. So President Donald J. Trump with bulletproof glass today in North Carolina. They got bulletproof glass up around there now. He hasn't gotten there yet. And then that was an accident. Let's see. In Sierra Leone.
The kind of mineral resources we have in our country is enough to take care of everybody in that country. We should not have a single poor person in Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, we are not given the free will to make decisions on our own mineral resources. There's always Big Brother who decides. And when you fight and say, no, we are not going to do this, they use the system to stop you. It's either they set you up with the opposition and they'll be supporting the opposition against you from the back, or they cause unnecessary chaos in your country so that you are not able to even govern your own people. They will do things to make you not to be functionable. And of course, any country that don't have peace cannot develop. You have to have peace before you talk about development. I'll give you a simple example about Sierra Leone. Every mining company that is in Sierra Leone today is owned by a foreigner. Every mining company. If it's not the Chinese, it's the American, it's the British. Our electricity, Bumuda, is run by the British, and we still don't have light. We're looking for light, electricity. If you don't have electricity, how can you talk about education? How can you talk about health facility? How can you talk about improving the infrastructure of your country? We don't have electricity. Now, do we actually even have proper water, pipe-borne water, so that our kids will not be sick? We don't have those facilities. Why? With all the minerals we have, there is a cap you put. Before my husband became the president of Sierra Leone was benefiting, they said, what's the word? 0.000.1%. What is that? Basically, a company can take as much as $100 million out of the country in terms of minerals, and then they can just give the country $10,000. Now, what will $10,000 do for our health system? What is $10,000 do for our educational system? And these are the things I believe that are stopping Africa from progressing. We don't have a say. The sense about us celebrating independence, I don't know why we celebrate independence, because we are not free. That is my own take. I'm not speaking also on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, nor am I speaking on behalf of His Excellency the President. I am speaking as Fatima, as a citizen of a country who believes that things need to change.
Yep. Yeah, and we already covered the children. Oh, this is a narrow escape here. Guy escaped with his life. You got it all on camera. Truly beautiful. Suspects caught on camera. Jugging. I guess that's what they call it. After Texas man gets home from the bank, they followed him home from the bank.
Give it up. 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 What the hell? What the hell? Give it up. Give the money up.
Yeah, followed him home from the bank. I didn't know that they actually had a name for it. Yeah, here's Tomer. There we go.
Prime Minister, is there any risk to the public safety from Operation Early Dawn, either in terms of policing operations that may now be postponed or from prisoners being granted bail who would otherwise not have been?
Well, these decisions are really tough decisions and nobody wants to take them. They're difficult decisions. They're having to be taken for one reason, and one reason only, and that is the terrible inheritance on prisons that we had as an incoming government from the previous government. There was a basic failure, which is a failure to have enough prison places for the number of prisoners that were being sentenced to prison. That is about as basic a failure of government from the previous government.
Prime Minister, is there any risk?
Yeah. That really answered the question as to why he's locking up people for freedom of speech.
Elon Musk now says he's ready to join a second Trump administration. Musk proposed a committee to cut government spending during his sit-down conversation with Trump on X.
I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? Right. And just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love it.
Well, Musk took it another step further yesterday, posting this humorous picture with the caption, "I am willing to serve." Elon Musk.
Yeah. I wonder what's really going on. Yeah. Concerned citizen says you just come back from Spain and you were talking about the chemtrails. It still baffles me why people don't talk about this. Here we go.
You've just come back from Spain and you were talking about the chemtrails.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we lived in Spain 6 years. Never since we've been there do we see trails in the sky. We had clear skies, especially in May. particularly all through the summer, no problem at all. When we had a clear day, all we saw was a whiteout. Look, there's one up there right now. You can see it right now. But because
In real time.
because it's cloudy, they're doing it above the clouds. We live in Suffolk. It's a farming community. They are deliberately causing rain to flood the fields so the farmers can't grow their crops, and they are trying to create a world food shortage.
You've just come back from Spain and you were talking about the
Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Here we go.
But they were making us look very bad because we have a fool. A fool is a president. They lied last night about things that nobody's ever seen. They lied about soldiers at a gravesite. They lied about Charlottesville. They lied about inflation. The inflation's been absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. But they were making us look very bad.
Yeah. So the guy's lies. All right, here goes Maxine.
At long last, we have encountered it. The elusive Rumpelforeskin. This wrinkled old beast has gathered here in Chicago, alongside other members of the liberal political fauna, such as the seldom seen wrinkled sphincter, and the leader of this gaggle of asshats, known as the knob gobbler. At first glance, these idiots may appear to be quite distinct from one another. However, they share a common trait. All hail from the slums of California, a state teetering precariously on the edge of failure, burdened by the sheer weight of its democratic leadership. In California, a land shackled by enormous debt and an exorbitant cost of living, one might expect an environment of luxury. Yet under the stewardship of this gaggle of asshats, the Golden State, particularly its urban landscapes, has deteriorated into an inhospitable shithole for its inhabitants. Despite their epic failures, these asshats now seek to extend their influence onto a national stage. It is a baffling phenomenon to witness the support they garner. Should one wish to understand the outcome of placing trust in this cackling knob gobbler, one need only observe the tragic decline of California, now reduced to a mere shadow of its former self, akin to a dumpster fire created by democratic leadership.
Yeah. I think that they got her ticket. Yep. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. 3 hours, 42 minutes in. Yeah, I'm tired. All right. Remember, our Creator loves you. His Son, the Christ, Jesus, he loves you. And I love you. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Peace.